Thieves gained 200 yards against Ottawa, but the CFL's leading rusher was injured 2 weeks ago against Hamilton, and James Sykes has taken his place. Last Friday in Edmonton, Tom Richards grabbed the Bombers' opening punt and proceeded to gallop 77 yards to a touchdown, sparking an impressive 33-5 Eskimo victory over Winnipeg. And strong Eskimo defense was the story, demonstrated by this Clemens sack for a safety touch. And this truly demonstrates the unpredictability of the CFL.
I think the parity is there. I've said that right at the beginning of the season, that it was going to be a very difficult time in the league this year. I didn't think anybody would really run away with it, either in the East or the West. And I think that things are really bearing that out. And you know, what the heck, in the West, for instance, BC, what are they, 6-2, and Saskatchewan's 3 games. They've won 3 games. There's only 3 games difference between the top and the bottom, and that shows pretty good parity right there.
Coach Murphy is dead right about parity. It's mirrored in the West Division standings. Winnipeg need a victory at home tonight to pull into a 3-way tie for second place. A very interesting interlocking matchup tonight, the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Live from the Winnipeg Stadium in Winnipeg, it's Friday Night Football on CTV. The Ottawa Rough Riders have a dramatic change at the throttle. J.C. Watts is gone, and the mantle has been assumed by Tom Burgess and Todd Dillon. 22-year-old Tom Burgess of Colgate will be the starter tonight. Just last week against the BC Lions, he hit wide receiver Mark Lewis en route to Ottawa's first major score. 24-year-old Todd Dillon has super credentials. This pass to slot-back Florindo Grilly picked for 32 yards, and we look forward to seeing the USFL expatriate in tonight's game.
Dillon, as you know, came from the USFL. He's a guy that backed up Kelly, who just signed with Buffalo. He knows the offense and has a good, strong arm. We're very pleased with him. Burgess, a young guy that a lot of people have compared to Tom Clements back home. So he's a good, quick guy, a lot of confidence, and we think he can play.
If the Ottawa Rough Riders can pull an upset tonight like Calgary did last night, they will move into second place along with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the CFL East. And weather could play a factor in tonight's interlocking game. It rained in Winnipeg this morning, cleared up, but now it is cloudy again, and the wind is a light thing at only 7 kilometers an hour. It's 18 degrees and warm, but there is a definite threat of rain. Hello again, everybody. Al McCann greeting you from the capital of Manitoba. And the way things are going in the CFL, anything can happen tonight. Would you believe last year, Winnipeg scored 100 points against Ottawa in 2 games? Last week, Winnipeg could only get 5 against Edmonton, so your guess is as good as mine. Let's meet my fellow commentators, Dale Isaac and Frank Rigney.
All right, Al, thank you very much. Hello again, everyone. The Bombers do have a 4-game winning streak over the Ottawa Rough Riders in the past couple of seasons, but as we know, the unexpected does happen in the CFL, Frank. But really, what does Ottawa have to do to beat this Winnipeg club?
Well, I think the big concern for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and I'm talking to Joe Moss, and he certainly expressed it, is their defensive football club and the lack of consistency. They really go after an offensive unit that they're playing against one week, and the next week they won't. So he's looking to get some more consistent play. He's missing 2 of his defensive backs. There's going to be 2 new people back there. Ziegler and Jones are both out of there, and of course, they're the team that has intercepted the fewest passes in the CFL, so they'd like to see improvement in that area.
And of course, they're very excited about their 2 young quarterbacks. What about the Bombers now, coming off that loss in Edmonton?
Well, of course, Coach Cal Murphy said we're not an inconsistent football club, although they did have a bad week last week. They had won 3 in a row prior to that. They're looking to go back into a second-place tie in the Western Division of the CFL, so you really can't say that they've had a bad year so far in the first half of 1986. But I think, again, he's looking for a little more consistency, particularly on offense.
Okay, now it's time to go back down to field level, and here's Al.
Well, okay, Dale, this is week number 9 in the CFL, so get a nice, easy chair and a nice, cool drink. I think it's going to be an enjoyable football game. This is Friday Night Football on CTV.
Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
46-year-old Bud Ulrich of Winnipeg is the head referee tonight, and he'll be ably assisted by Dave Yule, Bernie Prisco, Bill McDonald, Doug Stabley, and Larry Rohan. That's the officiating crew for tonight's ball game here at Winnipeg Stadium between the Blue Bombers and the Ottawa Rough Riders. And it'll be the Blue Bombers to kick off to get this football game underway. Reggie Butts and Lester Brown are sent back deep. You're looking at one of the upbacks, Henry Taylor, number 42. And there is James West, a man you'll probably see a lot of tonight on the specialty teams as well as a regular member of that linebacking crew for the Bombers. But West can make it happen on the special teams.
Dale, you know, we haven't mentioned to the fans across Canada that Trevor Kennard, of course, the kicker, who is normally Winnipeg's highest scoring guy, has been out of the lineup for some time now.
And that's Randy Faby kicking it off for the Bombers, coming to Lester Brown, starting on the return from his own 17-yard line. And Lester picks his way back up across the 30 to the 35. So the Ottawa Rough Riders will go on offense after an 18-yard return by Lester Brown, who will stay out there in the running back position along with Jim Reed and the starting quarterback, Tom Burgess. The receiving corps, there'll be a change there tonight for Ottawa. Their leading receiver, Mark Bruce, was injured last week against BC. Mike Catterbone, playing his first game of the season, inserted as a slot back. Butts, Grilly, and Mark Lewis are the other receivers. First down for the Ottawa Rough Riders, the ball near their own 31. Burgess goes to the short man, and that is Florindo Grilly, who caught 7 against BC last week for 80 yards, and this one will only be for a couple.
That was Delbert Fowler that came in there and really put the hit on him. As you take a look at an offensive line that has done a reasonable but not an awesome job for the Ottawa Rough Riders. They're still trying to find their way. The real key to that Winnipeg defense is their linebacking core.
We'll talk about them in a moment. Right now it's 2nd down and 8 for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Burgess will go down way back inside the 25-yard line. Delbert Fowler was the man who got to him, but the big pressure up the middle early was from Stan Mikowicz, the nose guard, a loss of 14.
Well, we talked about the linebackers just a second ago, and Fowler, of course, who returned to the Bombers last year after a stint in the NFL, comes in and makes his 4th sack of the year. Mikowicz putting the pressure on initially, as Dale mentioned to you, but Patterson, Fowler, West, and Jones at that linebacking spot are really the key to Winnipeg defensively.
Ken Clark, who is 2nd in the CFL in punting average this year behind Toronto's Hank Olisic, almost had this block. Sampson coming up the middle got a piece of it. It bounces and turns into a lengthy kick nonetheless to Kevin Nealis, and he'll bring it back to his own 49-yard line. Steve Harrison in on the tackle downfield, but it turned into a 41-yard kick and a return of 4. So Tom Clements will lead the Winnipeg Bomber offense out onto the field with James Sykes replacing Willard Reeves. Reeves yesterday went on the 60-day injury list, but he'll be back in late October for key games for the Bombers against Edmonton and then back-to-back with BC. The receiving corps for Winnipeg.
It's really interesting talking and listening to James Sykes before the ball game, how happy this 9-year veteran is to be back out starting a football game. It's been a while.
What a job by Clements. He had to pull it down. He takes off himself and picks up 8 yards. Looked like he was looking for that hitch screen again, and it was covered.
And so was Ottawa.
Yeah. And Clements picks up 8.
Still, we are looking at Tommy Clements now, and I think I mentioned to you a statistic that we looked at last night as we were preparing for this ball game. The experience at quarterback, there's a bit of a variance, is there not? 25 years on the top 2 quarterbacks for Winnipeg and another 4 for Homer Jordan. You can combine all of the Ottawa Rough Rider quarterbacks together, and they don't have 1 year's experience.
2nd down and 2. The pitch to James Sykes. He turns it upfield to the 50-yard line and should have enough for the first down. It was 2nd and 2 from the Ottawa 53, and now he's at the Ottawa 50. Henry Taylor, the middle linebacker, who's in place of Al Washington, made the tackle. Offensive line for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Richard Nemeth back in at left tackle. Hamilek, who was there last week, got injured. Defensively for the Ottawa Rough Riders, the front 4. Tom Clements rolling right, finds the league's leading receiver, James Murphy, and he steps out of bounds at the Ottawa 40-yard line, a gain of almost 10 full yards.
A couple of keys about the Ottawa defense to look for. Talking to Joe Moss, Joe said that he really feels he's got to get better play from Greg Marshall, and he's certainly capable of doing it, but if he can return to the level he was a couple of years ago, it'll improve the defense tremendously. And Henry Taylor, who you're looking at there, the middle linebacker, Joe had to actually be talked in by his assistant coaches to starting him tonight. Not that he didn't feel he could do the job, but the assistants apparently were somewhat higher than Joe was on him, so I'm sure Joe is going to be looking at number 42 very carefully.
James Murphy looks to be just a little bit short of the first down, so it'll be 2nd and inches for the Bombers. You saw the Ottawa defensive secondary. They are going with 5 imports back there tonight. Ricky Barden, of course, has moved over to the safety position. Aaron Hill, the former Montreal Concord, playing his first game with the Ottawa Rough Riders. Chris Ziegler, their leading interceptor with 5 pickoffs this year, is out with an injury, and so is Canadian Phil Jones. So that's why we're going with the 5 imports in the secondary. 2nd and inches, the deep pitch to James Sykes. And they stopped him from getting outside. Good job by Hill, and then Henry Taylor from the middle, and it's a loss of a yard on the play. Aaron Hill moved up quickly on the outside and prevented Sykes from putting this one out.
Well, there's a good view of the rookie from Florida State, number 42, that we just talked about. Good movement to get over the side and read the play. The only knock on him, apparently, he can really come up and stick people, but he has had a hard time sometimes with people bouncing off of him and getting second effort and picking up the first down. It didn't happen there.
It's 3rd down and a full yard to go for Tom Clements, looking for Poplawski. Diving attempt. The ball will go over to the Ottawa Rough Riders at the Ottawa 41-yard line as Tom led Poplawski just a little too much.
Play was wide open, and Tommy just overthrew it a little bit. The wind is blowing a bit from left to right as Winnipeg faces north, so that might have been a factor, but Joe was wide open for Tommy to hit.
Clements coming into the ball game, 66% completion average. Now it's Tom Burgess from the own 41. The Ottawa Rough Riders going offense, and Lester Brown is brought down. James West is in on the tackle for the Bombers. It'll be a gain of a couple on the play.
I think I can show you what I meant about how key the linebackers are. Watch John Sturdivant. He's the 2nd man down there. He's number 57 on the outside. Watch him string it up to the outside and make the play go back to the inside where he gets those fills by those linebackers. Take a look at it.
Gain of 3 as we get back to 2nd down and 7 now for Ottawa. In the middle, Mark Lewis makes the catch, first down at the Bomber 49-yard line, and that is, of course, a well-known name here in Winnipeg. His son, Leo Lewis, played 11 years for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He picks up 17, first time that Mark's been back here since he was 6 years old. And Frank was still playing then, right?
Well, I had the opportunity to go out and say hello to him and pass along a hello to his father. I had the great pleasure, of course, playing with Leo, who many people think was the greatest player ever to play in Winnipeg, certainly the greatest running back.
Lewis again inside the 40, and he's brought down close to first down yardage. It looks like he's picked up enough. Ken Haley and Roy Bennett making the tackle for Winnipeg.
Mark seemed to come into his own last week, and he's picking up right where he left off right now. There's that linebacking crew we talked about. You've already seen 2 or 3 of them very prominent so far. Fowler making the initial hit for the Winnipeg Defensive Ball Club.
Mentioned, too, that James Jefferson is playing the corner in place of David Shaw, who flew back to Dallas this week. He had to attend to some family difficulties down there. He is expected back with the Bombers on Sunday or Monday. Jefferson gets a chance to play the corner tonight.
I talked to Cal Murphy about him, and his first thing, he said, he can really run. I said, are you concerned about him? He says, nope. Even if they beat him, he can catch him. Apparently he's a burner.
Jim Reed, the big fullback, shakes off one tackle, then coughs up the football, but the play was whistled dead at the 35-yard line. The line of scrimmage was the Winnipeg 38, so it's a gain of about 3 for Reed. 2nd down and 7 coming up. Jim Reed, the big guy at 6'3", 230, usually leading the blocking for Lester Brown. Reed, an 8-year pro out of Wilfrid Laurier. Ottawa 2nd down and 7 from the Bomber 35. Burgess throws quickly, and he's got Mark Lewis at the 23-yard line. 1st down, Ottawa. Patterson on the coverage for Winnipeg.
Well, this was very close to spearing. Watch Patterson come in there. It's a good thing he missed him with that headgear, or they'd had a penalty tacked onto that one.
12-yard gain for Mark Lewis.
3 catches in this drive for Lewis.
Ottawa 1st down from the Winnipeg 23-yard line. Burgess got out of there. Good job by Burgess. Spun around and dropped at the 15. So he's got about an 8-yard gain. It was Wiley Turner, number 28, moving up from a halfback spot to finally bring the quarterback down.
Good job by the young quarterback. Nobody to throw it to, and the pressure he could feel coming from the outside from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he just pulled it down, faked a couple of people, and took off with it. That was Stan Mikowicz that had a hand on him for just a moment, and it looks like we're going to have a 2nd and about 1.5 to 2 yards.
Ottawa out over the ball quickly. The give is to Lester Brown in behind Jim Reed. He stood up. He spurts through to the 10-yard line. It is 1st down for the Rough Riders. An impressive-looking drive by Ottawa since they took the ball over on downs when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers missed on 3rd and 1 at the Ottawa 40.
I'm sure Joe Moss and his staff really like to see this kind of drive, because when you've got a football club that has replaced the number of people that they have, it's pretty tough to put an offensive drive together with this number of plays, and they look very successful in doing so far.
Especially when their number 1 receiver, Mark Bruce, is out with an injury. Burgess getting outside now, has lots of time, then forced to pull it down by Darrell Patterson, and he'll lose 3 yards on the play. Good job in the end zone by the Bombers secondary. Forced Burgess to end up eating the ball because of the pursuit by Darrell Patterson.
Well, watch Delbert Fowler, too, number 72. He just does not allow the quarterback to get to the outside. He makes him turn back to the inside. Patterson, coming from the outside as well, finally makes the stop, but they strung it out to the sideline.
It's 2nd down from the 12-yard line. Burgess to the goal line. Oh, did he catch it? No. Mike Catterbone, the intended receiver. Scott Flagel, the safety, was right there. And it goes incomplete, and the Ottawa field goal unit will come on.
Well, I thought he caught that for a moment. That would have been a great one.
I don't think Flagel got a hand on it. It just slipped through.
Catterbone back in for his first game in 1986 after being on the injury list all year long. Looks like it was a catchable football from that angle.
Yeah. Flagel being right there may have broke his concentration. Nevertheless, it's a 19-yard field goal attempt for Gene Dorsey out of the hole by Ken Clark. The indication is it's good, so the Ottawa Rough Riders get on the scoreboard. They lead the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 3-0. We'll be back in just a moment.
Instrumental part of that scoring drive for the Ottawa Rough Riders. He actually pulled a muscle in his upper leg after his last catch. The trainers worked on it, and he seems to have shaken it off. He'll be back in the ball game.
That is number 8, the new quarterback for Ottawa, standing next to Lewis, Todd Dillon. Tom Burgess directed them on that field goal drive, and now the kickoff from Dorsey, the reverse by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And on the return now is James Jefferson, the guy that Frank was talking about earlier, and he's cut down in a great open field tackle by Darrell Hall, number 24. He just never had a chance to turn it upfield and show us that speed.
Well, he really never made a move, did he?
This is Nealis playing the football, and watch as Jefferson will come from the left side.
But he runs right at Daryl Hall. Look at him. You think he's getting closer and closer, he's going to make a move here, try to get around him. He just tries to run right over the top of him. It didn't work. Well, I guess he tried to jump over the top of him.
All right, Bombers 1st and 10 from their own 22-yard line. Penalty marker down as Clemens completes the pass to James Murphy. Lamont Meacham, number 33, with the coverage out at the 34-yard line. Offside against Ottawa is the indication from referee Bud Ulrich. Clemens checks out the gain. If they take the gain, it'll be 2nd down and 3. If they take the penalty, it's 1st and 5.
Offside. Ottawa number 76. Penalty decline. 2nd down.
Dylan, talking to Coach Cal Murphy before the ballgame, he said they're going to try to do a couple of things different against this Ottawa football club. They're going to put both wide receivers on one side of the field from time to time, and they're also going to stack 3 receivers on one side along with their fullback on that side to try to flood the zone. So those are the things we'll try and look for, and all he's trying to do is not let Ottawa set into a pattern defensively, because if they get something going for them, they stay with it very well.
Bombers have now changed their mind.
1st down penalty. 1st down.
Either the Bombers changed their mind, or Tom Clements and the referee, Bud Ulrich, miscommunicated there. Anyway, it's 1st and 5 now for the Bombers. They take the penalty. The ball at their own 32-yard line. They started at their own 27. James Sykes slips one tackle, gets to the 35, across the 35, close to the 36-yard line. Craig Sanji was in on the tackle along with Steve Harrison, number 34.
James Curry in that up back position, the linebacking position, the designated blitzer as they call him, slides over there and puts the initial contact on Sykes. But good second effort by James to move it up over the 35-yard line. Nice to see him back. He's not touched the football very much in the last year or so, as you can see.
83 was it? Penalty markers again as Sykes takes the handoff. He's stood up by Henry Taylor, number 42.
You know, James is listed as 5'11" and 185 pounds, Dale, and I've always thought that he runs a lot bigger than that. I don't know, maybe it's because he runs so straight up and down, but he looks a lot more powerful than a man that size. Once again, looking at Taylor, 42, who made the stop.
Ottawa number 66. 1st down.
But Greg Marshall called for offside, so the 2nd offside penalty against Ottawa keeps his drive alive for Winnipeg. There's 5 minutes remaining in this 1st quarter.
Ottawa head coach Joe Moss hoping his defense can stay on side and stop the Bombers now. Winnipeg 1st and 10 from their own 40. Clements, far side, he completes the pass. That's Sean Kehoe out there, and he's brought down at the 45-yard line by Steve Harrison, the linebacker. Be a gain of 5 on the play. 2nd down for Winnipeg as they slowly move the ball out of their own end, aided by a couple of offside penalties against Ottawa and short passes. 3-0. Ottawa leads it on a field goal by Dorsey. We have 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Clements for Poplawski, and it is broken up by Craig Sanji. And it'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Bombers, and they'll have to punt the football away.
Sanji, one of the new members of that Ottawa defensive backfield unit, number 36, breaks his play up, and for the first time that I can recall, Dale, in the 9 years he's been there, there's a little bit of pressure maybe on Joe Poplawski. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers and their staff just don't feel that they've been getting the production out of those inside receivers that they'd like to have.
Exactly. Jerome Erdman on one side, Poplawski on the other. They want those guys more involved in the game than they have been to this point. Good kick by Bob Cameron, driving Butts inside his own 15-yard line. He turns it upfield. There's a penalty marker down, and Butts goes down at the 25-yard line. Sampson making the tackle, number 30. But we'll check out the penalty when we come back. The score is Ottawa 3, Winnipeg nothing. We'll return in just a moment.
injury follow. Winnipeg, number 58. First down.
James West of the Bombers penalized. First down Ottawa from their 40. Burgess goes to Lester Brown. Brown is met at the 45-yard line. Patterson, Mikowas, and Fowler were all there. Gets it out to the 46-yard line for a gain of 6 yards. And Ottawa looking at second down and 4. The last time Ottawa had the ball, they started at their own 41, kept the ball for almost 5 minutes, and ended up with a field goal. They lead at 3-0. This time he wants to go deep. Mark Lewis can't get to it. Good coverage as Roy Bennett was with him all the way.
You know, Dale, the Rough Riders have the lead, and actually they are going into the wind, although it's primarily a crosswind. It is favoring the punting of Bob Cameron and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now. But
I think that was obvious on the last punt, Al. Cameron's punt traveled 51 yards.
It has warmed up, though, Dale, and maybe the rain will stay away. It's a beautiful evening, and there's a good crowd here in the Winnipeg Stadium.
38-year-old Kenny Clark to punt now for Ottawa. Second time he's had to do this in the first quarter. His first one was almost blocked. And he hangs it up nice and high. And this is Sampson on the return. And he spun around, and Steve Harrison was there waiting for him. 47-yard punt and a 4-yard return. Ottawa leads it. The Bombers have the ball back, though. 3-0 for Ottawa. We'll be back in just a moment. 33-5 by those Eskimos, and even though Cal doesn't like to say they've been inconsistent, you'd have to figure with a 4-3 record, they have struggled a little bit so far at 86.
Well, when you blow one ball club out, like they did against Saskatchewan, 55-0, you turn around a few weeks later and get beat 33-5. That's not totally consistent.
Right now, Winnipeg trails 3-0. Clements with the handoff to James Sykes, the man replacing Willard Reeves. And Sykes will pick up about 7 or 8 yards before he's driven out of bounds by Ricky Barton and Darrell Hall. Sykes, of course, no stranger in the CFL. And there's Ricky Barton playing that safety spot.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They like having him back there because he is going to get involved in the play. He's going to come from anywhere and get a piece of somebody, that's for sure. He needs a little bit of help to bring Sykes down after that 8-yard gain, but I really like the way Ricky plays the game. A lot of enthusiasm.
Second down and about 2.5 yards to go. Sykes again with the handoff, and he's wrapped up by Henry Taylor and Craig Sonji. But he does have enough for the first down, and he'll move the yardsticks. The ball now out at the Bombers' 34-yard line. Now Barton puts a lick on people even from that halfback spot. That safety position seems ideal for a guy who likes to hit the way he does.
Oh, yeah, he can go to both sides of the field from there. And a lot of the time that they can release him so he doesn't have specific responsibilities and go get involved in the play.
First down for Clements, looking for Kehoe. He's got him. He just laid it up over his left shoulder. Good catch by Kehoe, and he's got to pick up a close to 9 yards.
That really was a fine catch by Sean as he comes out here. He really doesn't turn around and see this ball properly until almost the time it gets there. Just makes a fine grab right over the top of his shoulder. Looks like moving the ball a bit each time they get possession of it, but putting nothing consistent together so far.
A minute left in the first quarter. Pat Kantner diving over the right side on 2nd and 2, and he's out across the 45-yard line for another first down for Winnipeg. And Kantner checks out because Sean Kehoe comes back into the ball game. The Bombers switch those two around fairly regularly.
Tommy Clements in his 11th year in the Canadian Football League. Of course, from Notre Dame originally.
Comes the halfback blitz, and Clements spins to get away from Aaron Hill. And he's finally brought down by James Curry right at the Bomber bench.
Well, you got to know that that was the experience of Tommy Clements. He could just feel that back coming on him from the blind side. And, of course, a lot of quarterbacks would have been sacked for a 10, 15-yard loss on the play, or maybe even fumble the football getting hit from behind. But Tommy made a great move to escape and get around to the outside. Even though he lost 3 yards, it was a good play.
They put the ball back at the Winnipeg 42-yard line, so it's 2nd down and 14. About a year ago against Ottawa, that Clements accomplished, and Reed ran for over 200 yards. Clements does not complete this pass to Sean Kehoe. He's on the ground and unable to squeeze it, so it'll be 3rd down, and Steve Harrison provided the coverage. And that's going to do it. The first quarter has come to an end, and the Ottawa Rough Riders are leading the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 3-0. We'll return with the second quarter in just a moment. Winnipeg very consistently at all in that first quarter, and right now the Blue Bombers are punting it away on 3rd and 14 from their own 42. This is Bob Cameron doing the punting. Beautiful kick. Hangs it up nice and high. Fumbled by the Ottawa Rough Riders. It looks like Reggie Butts may have got it back, though. A 41-yard punt. And he let the ball play him, but he got it back.
Our CFL coverage on CTV continues tomorrow night, and what a game that should be. It's the Argos and the Eskimos in Toronto, and Pat Marsden, Leif Pedersen, and Dan Matheson will be there. And believe me, if it's anything like the game we had between those two teams just a while back when the Argos won 35-34, it should be one humdinger. Tomorrow night on CTV.
And, of course, the Argos making another trade today. Picked up quarterback Tim Cowan from the BC Lions in exchange for a first-round draft choice next year. They have been picking up quarterbacks. Besides Conrad, they now got J.C. Watts and Tim Cowan.
They're going to have a special quarterback practice.
Well, they've got enough folks in terms of numbers. Now they need somebody to step up there and really do the job, although Conrad's, when he's healthy, has had a good year for them so far. He certainly is the difference in that ball club. When you see Holloway off the offense, it just sags tremendously.
You've seen Reggie Butts getting back to that football, but shaken up on the play, so he'll miss the first play of this series. Statistically, in the first quarter, the team's fairly even, and the one turnover was on downs. The Bombers gambling on 3rd and 1 at the Ottawa 41 and missed it. Right now it's Ottawa with the ball back at their own 29-yard line, and this is Tom Burgess rolling wide and gunning it down the sidelines to Mark Lewis, and he threw a strike. That is a tremendously well-thrown football for a pickup of 19 yards.
Well, they caught the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in a blitz, and the blitz was coming to the wide side of the field. Watch the linebackers as they come to this side. He just turns around to the other side on a short bootleg to the left and buys himself a lot of time to throw the football. The linebackers all coming to the right side, and bang, he goes back. Excellent throw on the run.
First down for Ottawa at their 48. Burgess wants to put it up again. Nobody open. Gets past Tyrone Jones, and this side is wide open. But catching him from behind and bringing him down at the Bomber 48-yard line was Delbert Fowler, number 72. Another first down for Ottawa. 14 yards.
Well, Burgess has done a good job when he's had to take off with that football. Watch the move on Jones now, 35. Ty is not the easiest guy to get around, but Burgess made it look easy. The young guy from Colgate in his rookie year wants to keep that job, regardless of the credentials of Todd Dillon.
So it is now first down for Ottawa at the Winnipeg 48. This is Robert Reed, number 19, being hauled down by Stan Mikowas inside the 45-yard line. He has a pickup of 5 yards as Reed now heads to the bench, and Jim Reed comes back in. Robert Reed, 19, Jim Reed, 32.
And there's a bit of difference in size. Jimmy's a big hoss out there, over 230 pounds.
Robert is 5'11", 185, but he got 5 on first down. Second down, blitz coming, and he got it away. There's a penalty marker down as Jim Reed makes the catch and then is dropped by James West at the 38-yard line, right near first down territory, but they're going to bring it back. There's initial indication holding against Ottawa. There's an injured Ottawa Rough Rider. Looks like center Jerry Hornett is down. 8-year pro out of Simon Fraser, former Saskatchewan Rough Rider. Now the starting center in Ottawa. And he really hasn't moved much. They'll march off the holding penalty against the Rough Riders.
Well, he was the one called for a holding, I believe. The Ottawa Rough Riders lead the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We have 12:37 remaining in the first half, and we'll be right back.
If you're a young
receiver out of Tulane who was injured on the punt return a moment ago, he banged his elbow very hard, mostly on the funny bone. It gave him a lot of pain, but Reggie tells me he's going to be back in the ballgame as soon as the feeling's back in his hand.
And center Jerry Hornet is now at the bench being attended to. So Peter Vandenbos, the left guard, moves to center. Brad Fawcett moves in at left guard for Ottawa on 2nd down and 15, and Burgess dumps it off, intended for Jim Reed, and it goes incomplete. Burgess was in the midst of being smothered by that Bomber rush. He tried to flip it to Reed, but he couldn't find the handle. 3rd down, Ottawa.
Boy, I'll tell you what, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers just decided they're going to bring everybody. Watch them. They come from the outside. The defensive line comes. All the linebackers, watch this, and they completely encircle the young quarterback. He's got nowhere to go. He was fortunate to get that ball off to Reed at all. James West, 58, goes up over the top. He gets 2 or 3 people that get a piece of him before he gets rid of that football, and it was, fortunately for Ottawa, an incomplete pass.
Clark to punt. Only one man back deep for the Bombers, Kevin Nealis. Here they come, big rush, and Clark gets it away again. A little bit shorter this time. Nealis on the return, and he runs right into Hudson, who stopped him momentarily, and then he's finished off by Marty Palizzetti. So Bombers will have to start deep in their own zone after a 36-yard punt, no return. Ottawa leading 3-0. We'll be right back.
The veteran center of the Rough Riders, that is Simon Fraser originally. And Frank, you will really know about this injury. Jerry had his neck kind of pinched in a pile-up, and it numbed his arm, and they're waiting for the arm, the numbness to go to the arm. And Jerry's a tough one. He'll be back in. You can bet on that.
I don't think there's an offensive lineman that ever played this game that hasn't had that happen to him from time to time. It looked like Darrell Patterson was the Winnipeg Bomber that hit him rather strongly on a blitz situation. We hope he'll be back soon.
Bombers with the ball back, trying to hit screen to Murphy, and again, the Ottawa Rough Riders were ready for it. Darrell Hall got in there quickly, and it'll be maybe a loss of a little bit on the play. The line of scrimmage was the 16-yard line. See where they spotted now. Looks like maybe he got back there, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
If ever there's an example of a team being ready for a certain sort of play, that is it. They tried to open a ball game with that one, and Clemens had to turn around and throw it the other way. They were on him so quickly.
So 2nd down and 10. Bombers trailing 3-0 and haven't been able to move the ball much. Clemens doing a good job of stepping up inside the rush, throwing, and he completes it to Poplawski. And a 1st down for the Bombers out at the 35-yard line. Sovieta and Sanji make the tackle. Poplawski picks up 19. That is his 501st career reception as a Winnipeg Blue Bomber. He's the first Bomber ever to get 500 career receptions. He did that last week in Edmonton. This is his first tonight.
Well, that was a fine throw by Tommy Clements, not only under full flight, but he looked like he was a bit off balance. Got it right too, Joe.
James Curry, who was in pursuit of the quarterback, shaken up on the play. So Marty Palizzetti will come in defensively for Ottawa, as they'll have to change things up now and go with a 3-man front and 4 linebackers, at least for one play.
Yeah, we were talking about the Ottawa Rough Riders and Joe Moss's opinion that they felt that they had to be a lot more consistent and a lot more pressure type defensive club than they have been so far in 1986. And I think that's reflected in that statistic that we talked about. Only 9 interceptions in the entire year. They ranked 9th in the league in that department. And of course, that can be credited to a lack of pressure as much as anything else. And Chris Ziegler has 5 of those 9.
We want to remind fans in the Ottawa area that the Rough Riders will be back home 1 week from tonight, Friday, August 29th, against the Toronto Argonauts. That's a 7:30 start Eastern time, and of course you'll see that game right across the country on the full CTV network. But that's an important ball game next week at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, and the Rough Riders certainly come to play tonight. Curry out of action for the moment. Bourgeot is now in there. And Clements completes it to Murphy. He steps out of bounds at the 46-yard line, and he's got enough for another first down. Curry comes back in along with Steve Harrison.
What a year he's having. Leads in reception and yardage in the CFL and tied with 6 touchdown receptions.
It's Curry, Bourgeot, Lewis, and Marshall, the front four for Ottawa. Engelson, the man out of there for the time being. The draw play to James Sykes, and this is Bourgeot. And a late hit. Penalty flag comes down.
Well, I think things are getting heated up there, a little bit.
Rough play against Ottawa.
Looked like a big hole for a moment, and then they closed it up very quickly. And may have been Lewis coming in there, number 76.
Ottawa number 36, first down.
Well, they call Sanji at 36 for the penalty. In any event, it's a first down for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at Ottawa's 46-yard line.
Less than 10 minutes remaining now in the second quarter. A sprint draw to James Sykes, and Greg Marshall is there, number 66. Stops him right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be second down and 10. Clements throwing quick this time. He's got Poplawski. Good move to go inside of Ricky Barton, and Henry Taylor, the middle linebacker, got over there to make the stop on him at about the 37, 38-yard line. They're going to be short of the first down.
Well, that was good lateral movement by Taylor, the rookie we talked about earlier from Florida State, getting all the way out to the outside and making that stop before Joe could pick up the first down. They're going to be a good 2 yards short.
And Barton is shaken up.
We may see Paul Osbaldiston, the rookie, replacing Trevor Kennard in a field goal attempt here. Paul has been 8 out of 11 since he came to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers from the BC Lions.
He's done a pretty good job in relief this year for a couple of clubs. He started the first month of the season replacing Louis Pasaglia with the Lions, and then he came in here when Kennard got hurt.
Big guy for a kicker, 6'3", 215 pounds.
And he's lost quite a few pounds. Coming up at halftime, we'll have highlights of the CFL this week. Last night's game, big win, Stampeders over the BC Lions. Harold Holman of the Stampeders will be profiled. Our regular feature Ask the Commissioner with Doug Mitchell, and of course we'll have Frank's analysis of the first half. So we have Paul Osbaldiston into the ball game to try a 45-yard field goal. His longest of the year is 51 yards. He's kicked 8 field goals for Winnipeg since replacing the injured Trevor Kennard. Bob Cameron doing the holding. And it's got the distance. It is wide to the right. It'll go for a single point. And now it is Ottawa 3 and Winnipeg 1 with 8:41 left until halftime. We'll be back in just a moment.
Unit here in the first half. Ricky Barton damaged his left knee moments ago. Jerry Hornet is still out of the game with that pinched neck. Reggie Butts is still getting over a bad arm. Joe Moss is going to be short of troops if this continues.
Came into the ball game minus their leading receiver, Mark Barousse. Hudson is now in at slot, and Mike Catterbone has had to move outside. Vanden Boss at center as Burgess is intercepted by Scott Flagel. Then the ball is dropped. So I think Flagel got it back. Yes, he did. At the Bomber 54-yard line. That was Todd Dillon at quarterback, and his first pass is picked off.
Well, that got the crowd stirred up a little more. Dillon trying to hit between the seams of the zone, does not see the safety, Scott Flagel, come over there. Lewis was the intended receiver behind Roy Bennett. Flagel picks off the first interception of this ball game and then recovers his own fumble.
his second interception of the season. The Bombers have the ball at their own 53-yard line. Clemens wide open is James Murphy. Murphy to the Ottawa 43-yard line. Steve Harrison finally brought him down. A pickup of 14.
Boy, you could just see the way Murphy caught that football, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. He knows he's going to catch the ball. He's waiting to turn upfield, and he's going to make at least one guy miss him. Great speed. Of course, he kind of played second fiddle to Boyd when he was here, and now has it all to himself.
Deep drop for Clemens. Wide open on the other side is Tuttle. It's picked off by Harrison. It bounced right out of Tuttle's hand into the linebacker's arm, Steve Harrison. And the Ottawa Roughriders have the ball right back at their own 43-yard line. 19 yards for Harrison on the return.
Well, that's a very strange play. Looked like he was getting ready to run maybe a little bit before he had control of the football. Let's look at it. Oh, he's got a pretty good swell. I guess he didn't. He kind of threw it to him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Trying to make a big move before he really had good possession of the ball, and Winnipeg's turnover is complemented by one that goes right back to Ottawa. 7 minutes now remain in this first half. We have a 3-1 game to favor the Riders.
Dillon with the pitch to Lester Brown. And moving over quickly, the nose tackle, number 75, Stan Nicholas, to bring him down. We have some words between some linemen now. The gain was just about 3 yards for Lester Brown. There's been a considerable amount of jawing going on ever since Jerry Hornet got injured.
Catalane, number 65, the right offensive tackle, came up and hit Flagel after the play was completely over.
Big one. Moves the ball back to the Ottawa 29.
Major foul. Ottawa number 65. Second down.
So now it's second down and 25 yards to go.
I don't know if I've ever heard a general manager any more enthusiastic than Don Hope was about the acquisition of this Todd Dillon. Well, they figure he's as good as Jim Kelly was, and of course Kelly is signed as the highest paid football player in the history of the game.
Coming across the middle is Hudson, but he's wrapped up immediately by Ken Haley. And they get maybe 10 yards back, not even that. So it'll be third down and about 14, 15 yards to go. So the Ottawa Roughriders will have to punt the ball away again. A defensive struggle here in Winnipeg. 3-1 is the score. The Roughriders leading. Kenny Clark, tonight's average 41.3. Coming in, he was averaging 47.7. Second best in the league. It was a good kick. Sampson back inside his own 20-yard line, starts the return from the 17, gets across the 25 to about the 28, 29-yard line. That was a 56-yard punt by Clark and a 12-yard return. Let's get that average back up there a bit.
Bill, you know, Al was talking about the unpredictability of the Canadian Football League, and you know, in the first 6 football games, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were in the top 3 offensive categories in virtually everything you looked at, including scoring points. Now we see in the last 5.5 quarters, they've managed a total of 6 points. Where did the O go?
Question Tommy Clements will try to answer. Try to get something going offensively as he looks to the far side, and he laid that one out there, and Darrell Hall moved over quickly to make the tackle on Kehoe, but that ball took a while to get there.
You were thinking the same thing I was. A split second later, that'd been 6 going the other way.
Exactly.
Hall was there just about a fraction of a second too late, but he does come up and make the stop very quickly. The gain is about 8.5 yards. So Winnipeg continues to make the small gains, but really cannot put anything together against an Ottawa defense that looks vastly improved over the last couple of weeks.
Second down and 2 for the Bombers. Pat Kantner pops through there and is finally cut down by Ricky Barton, the safety. at the 45-yard line. 1st and 10 for Winnipeg. Twice now Cantner's come in to pick up first down yardage on 2nd and short.
And Ricky Barton, the safety, has to come up and drill him there. He'd have picked up a lot more yardage. Good protection.
Clements went looking for Sean Kehoe after Kehoe had made a block on Greg Marshall, but he zipped it right over his head. I don't think Kehoe was expecting it at all. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. And the fans here in Winnipeg, Frank, starting to mutter to themselves a little bit about what's possibly wrong with the Bomber offense.
Well, I haven't seen much excitement for the hometown folks so far. In fact, neither team has really been that effective. Burgess has created a little excitement for the Riders by taking off with the football a couple of times.
Poplawski gets open down the middle. Sanji comes over to make the tackle at the Ottawa 45. Another big gain for the Bombers. 20 yards and 1st down. Poplawski very much involved in this ball game tonight.
Well, his last couple of catches have gone for almost 40 yards, and good protection for Tommy Clements as he finds Joe open right down the middle.
1st and 10. Clements straight back to pass again. James Sykes made the catch, fumbled it, picked it back up, and he's going to have a 1st down for the Bombers. Getting some strange bounces here tonight. That one comes right back to Sykes, and he picks up the 1st down before Henry Taylor can stop him. Another good move by Clements.
Looks like that ball was really stripped from him by Hall, number 24. James very alertly picks it right back up and gets the ball down to just about the 33-yard line.
Injured Ottawa Rough Rider is Aaron Hill, the newcomer, number 22, newcomer to Ottawa. Of course, he's a former Montreal Concord, playing his first game with the Rough Riders. And he is on his feet and heading to the bench. So that'll bring Mike McIntyre into the Ottawa secondary. They've had to go through some changes getting ready for this ball game, and since the game started, they've had some injuries.
Well, as you mentioned, Dale, Chris Ziegler and Phil Jones both out with hamstring injuries. They will not be out for an extended period of time, but they did necessitate those changes.
1st down from the Ottawa 33. Clements. Penalty markers come down. Tuttle looked to be the intended receiver. I think Darrell Hall is going to be called for interference. And he's saying, I was picked. I was picked. But I don't think they're going to call it.
Well, Darrell Hall, San Diego originally, is not very happy right now. Watch him, number 24. Actually, I think he was picked by his own man. We have a 3-1 football game, and we'll be back with the last 3 minutes of the first half in just a moment.
Don't you wanna go?
The Rough Riders just been called for interference. The Rough Riders lead it by 2 with 2:59 left in the 2nd quarter, but the Bombers are now 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 19.5-yard line. Tom Clements throwing back to Perry Tuttle, and he's caught immediately by Darrell Hall. The gain will be short of the 1st down to near the 12-yard line. Pickup of about 7 on the play.
That's a great play, though, by Tommy, looking back finally when he couldn't find anybody on the strong side. Tuttle, obviously the 3rd receiver or 4th receiver in line on that particular play. And Hall stayed right with him, stayed home with him.
2nd down and 3 for the Bombers. James Sykes to the 10-yard line. He's inside the 10. He'll be very close to 1st down yardage for Winnipeg. Steve Harrison again in on the tackle, along with Henry Taylor, number 42. We're going to have a measurement here to see whether or not Sykes did pick up the 1st. And if you joined us late, Sykes in there replacing the injured Willard Reeves. Reeves went on the 60-day injury list yesterday. The Bombers will have him back for their final 3 regular season games, October 25th against Edmonton, and then back-to-back with BC to finish off the regular season. A little bit short, so it's third down, Winnipeg.
Reeves, of course, was leading the Canadian Football League in the rushing category with just under 500 yards when he went down with that injury.
Okay, so the Bombers will go for it. They missed a third down gamble in the first quarter at the Ottawa 41. Now it's third down and inches just inside the 10, and Clemens keeps it himself, and he should have plenty for the first down. Pretty tough to stop when the defense is a yard off the ball and the offense only needs a couple of inches.
He just stayed behind Mark Moore's number 50, who, of course, has replaced the longtime veteran John Bonk, who retired prior to the opening of the season. Had a bit of a neck injury, and John will be honored with a special ceremony here at halftime, commemorating his 14 years in the Canadian Football League.
All right, it's first and goal for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Ottawa 8-yard line. Clemens has a lot of room himself. The 5 to the 1-yard line. Steve Harrison roughing him up a little bit there. No penalty flags are thrown. It'll be second and goal from the 1.
Yeah, Winnipeg fans are happy with Clemens' effort there. Tommy does a good job. He's not really that interested in taking off with the football, but it was so wide open. Got the ball all the way down to the 1-yard line. And then pays the price.
Second down play for Winnipeg. The ball at the 1. The give is to Sykes. Over the top. Touchdown, Winnipeg. That's the first touchdown for the Bombers since they defeated Hamilton 36-30 back on August the 7th. And James Sykes picks up his first touchdown of the season. 4 minutes, 41 seconds. The Bomber touchdown drive, and Sykes going over the top with 1:25 left until halftime. And Paul Osbaldiston will attempt the point after out of the hole by Bob Cameron. It is good, and it is now Winnipeg 8 and Ottawa 3.
Just good takeoff by the Winnipeg right side of the offensive line. Big Chris Walby at 6'7", 290. He's a good guy to go behind. So with 1:25 remaining, we finally have a major score in this football game.
81-yard drive in 10 plays. Sykes finishing it off, so the Bombers will kick off from their own 35. And of course, hoping to win this one tonight, improve their record to 5-3, and create a three-way tie for second place in the Western Division. Ottawa claiming a piece of second place, or at least Calgary claiming a piece of second place in the West with that victory last night over the BC Lions. The Lions, of course, remain on top. Cal Murphy wants Winnipeg to have a share of that second place as well.
We should tell Cal that the BC Lions are 7-2, not 6-2, as he said before the ball game.
Osbaldiston with the kickoff. Mark Lewis on the return from the 23-yard line. Slips outside, brings it out to the 45, where he's finally chased out of bounds. So Ottawa with very good field position to start this drive. A 22-yard return by Lewis. 1:19 left in the second quarter. Lewis caught 7 passes for 149 yards last week against the BC Lions.
He's caught 3 or 4, I think, already tonight, has he not, Tom?
Yes, he has. A total of 4 for 58. And, of course, when he played in the USFL, he caught 75 in one season with Denver. Not big, but he is quick, and he can catch. Here's Todd Dillon, who has replaced Tom Burgess for the third series now, and his pass intended for Grilly goes incomplete. Todd Dillon out of Cal State Long Beach with experience in the United States Football League.
Boy, delivered that right on the money, and you can tell he's got an extremely strong arm because he can throw the ball off either foot, and they expect big, big things from him. Be interesting to see his development in the CFL.
Second down and 10. Dillon throwing it deep. Hudson over the shoulder makes the great catch, and Scott Flagel, the safety, hauls him down at the 20-yard line. Big, big offensive play for the Ottawa Roughriders. 45-yard gain.
The big guy, 6'5", 220-pound Mike Hudson, and boy, Dillon puts this one right on the money. An excellent throw that he gets up over the defensive back, and it's right there where they can do nothing about it.
Heck of a pass bank off his wrong foot, too.
First down, Ottawa from the Winnipeg 20. Dillon looking to the end zone. Almost intercepted by Bennett, the intended receiver, Lester Brown. And it'll be second down and 10.
Little volleyball here by Bennett, but obviously out of bounds even if he did make the reception. Second and 10 from the 21-yard line for Ottawa. They've got lots of time with 49 seconds still showing on the scoreboard clock here.
Dillon throwing back, completes it to Grilly, and he is filled at the 12-yard line. The ball came loose, but it may have been fumbled away after the receiver Grilly made contact with the turf. So Ottawa will maintain possession at the 12-yard line. So it's a gain of 9 yards, the line of scrimmage being the 21. So third down and 1. The field goal unit is sent in by Joe Moss. Again, Ottawa operating, coming into the ball game without Mark Bruce. Mike Catterbone had replaced him. And then Reggie Butch was shaken up earlier, and he's still at the bench. And so Hudson is in. Catterbone goes to wide receiver, and of course Hudson made the big 45-yard gain to put Ottawa in scoring position. On third and 1, it'll be a 19-yard field goal attempt by Dean Dorsey. Clark doing the holding. There's the kick. It is good, and with 22 seconds remaining until halftime, Winnipeg's lead is now 8-6. But Ottawa came right back and got some more points. And of course, they would prefer a touchdown, but the field goal they'll take, and the sign of a team coming together a little bit as they move downfield quickly.
Very impressive 45-yard completion to Hudson by Todd Dillon. Key play in that drive. It lasted only a minute and 3 seconds, but there's not much left for Winnipeg to deal with. They have only 22 seconds showing out on the clock now, and they may just bury this one and be happy with a 2-point lead.
Clements just grounds the football, and the crowd doesn't like that at all. You see 21 seconds still up on the scoreboard. They want the Bomber offense to try something. And the clock winds down. And now we have timeout called by the Ottawa Roughriders. And the Ottawa Roughriders are asking who called timeout. Referee Bud Ulrich must have come from the bench because the defensive players on the field were ready to go. They didn't realize that they had called the timeout.
It's one of those, not me.
Yeah.
Coming up at halftime, CFL this week. And last night's highlights, you'll see the Stampeders move to over 500. And one of the great reasons is number 99, Harold Hallman, the outstanding young defensive tackle for the Calgary Stampeders. Doug Mitchell will be along, of course, with our feature Ask the Commissioner. And Dale and I will, if he consents to help me out, do a little analysis of the first 30 minutes.
Think you need help?
Absolutely.
Clements just does it again on second down, and of course when Ottawa called the timeout, they stopped the clock for 13 seconds, and Once Bud Ulrich whistles time in again, the clock will wind down completely to 0, and Clements will do it one more time, much to the chagrin of the Winnipeg fans who want to see him try something, but it's not going to happen here in the first half. And the two teams are getting set to head to the locker room as Clements does it one more time, and that'll bring to a close the first 30 minutes at the Winnipeg Stadium. And the defense is certainly dominated. One touchdown scored by the Bombers. Ottawa got a couple of field goals. And at halftime, it's the Blue Bombers leading the Rough Riders 8-6.
You're invited to stay with us for our halftime intermission. Dan Matheson will be looking at the highlights of last night's games in the CFL. We'll have our popular feature, Ask the Commissioner, the Pacific Western Stars of the Week, and a profile on Calgary Stampeder Harold Holman. This is Friday Night Football on CTV.
Sharing second place with Ottawa as well. The Tiger Cats wanted to change all that. They strike first. Rocky DiPietro hauls in the pass from Mike Kerrigan. DiPietro would make 8 catches on the night. He finds a seam here in the second quarter, makes the grab, and sets up the Tiger Cats' second major with a big gainer up the middle. Capping the drive, Walter Bender. He blasts the final yard to make it 14-3 Hamilton. Only the kicking of Roy Kurtz kept the Alouettes close. He boots 5 field goals. This his longest, 51 yards. Montreal's Brian Ransom had his trouble with the tabby defense. Here, pass tipped by Les Brown, intercepted by Ben Zambiazzi. And as defenders are wont to do with unexpected footballs, they play pitch and catch. It is Les Brown going the rest of the way, 21-9. And the Tiger Cats would add some more. Kerrigan from the 11 wants to pass. He looks for Wayne Lee, and he scores his first touchdown of the year. The game certainly appeared to be out of reach, especially the way Les Brown was playing. He feasted off Ransom. 4 of 6 Hamilton interceptions by Les Brown. But the Tiger Cats almost gave this one away. High snap on the punt attempt. All Bernie Ruoff can do is cover up. Montreal has the ball at the Hamilton 5, and moments later, Mark Stevens goes up and over, but that is all they could score. The final count would be 28-23 Hamilton. Now we go under the dome at BC Place in Vancouver. The Stampeders paying a visit. But the Lions are not very good hosts. At first, Roy DeWalt to John Pankratz. Quick strike, touchdown, 7-0. But Rick Johnson can throw the ball, too. Second quarter, he locates slot back Emmanuel Tolbert for a big gain. That sets up Calgary's first touchdown. Johnson again takes the aerial route 3 yards outside to Jamie Harris. Stampeders in front, 10-7. DeWalt gets the ball to wide receiver Jim Sandusky here. Watch the nifty bit of running. He weaves his way to the Stampeders secondary. That effort helps put BC ahead again, as again they go in to score. Keevan Jenkins gets the call, 14-10 Lions. But that would be their final score. Shotgun miscue here. DeWalt drops the ball. Vince Goldsmith says, thank you very much. The gift puts Calgary ahead to stay. But Johnson wants more. Calgary at BC 49. Johnson down the sidelines to big Ray Alexander. He is to the 5-yard line. Now we go to 3rd and goal. Gary Allen gets the call, slams in. The Stampeders win their first of the year against a Western opponent, toppling the defending champions 30-14.
And completing the CFL slate for this weekend, tomorrow night, another game you can watch here on CTV. The Edmonton Eskimos visit the Toronto Argonauts. You may recall that the last time these two teams met, they provided one of the most exciting and dramatic finishes in CFL history. Looking ahead to next week, the CTV Friday Nighter has those Argonauts once again, this time in Ottawa. This is CTV's Friday Night Football. Halftime continues in a moment. Defensive star with a sack, a fumble recovery, 5 tackles, and a key pass deflection. Cruz was a major factor in BC's win over stubborn Ottawa. Tonight, our CTV profile focuses on lineman star and defensive tackle Harold Holman. We are at halftime in Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers playing host to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Every now and again, just about every sports fan thinks that his favorite team got robbed by the officials. Many people think that officials should be allowed to use television replays, videotape, to check controversial calls. That is the subject matter for today's Ask the Commissioner question. Right now, when and under what circumstances would the CFL allow their officials to use videotape replays to review questionable calls? That comes from Dale Babinchuk of Kamsack, Saskatchewan. Doug Mitchell, your response.
Well, Dan, we don't have any provision now for video replays or for officials to look at video replays. And at this particular stage, we feel that it would be far too time-consuming. You can't do it by looking at one camera. It would take 3 or 4 cameras to look at it, and I just think it would have a detrimental effect on the game.
The NHL, the NFL, they have both launched investigations into using videotape replays. Do you have access to their materials, reviewed what their...
In part, we have, and also I think a good example was shown a couple weeks ago when Montreal Alouettes played in BC. The replay screen clearly showed a touchdown on a controversial pass reception, but when you reviewed it and looked at it on television, you saw that it was obviously not a touchdown, so that if you'd looked at only one camera, you'd have called it a touchdown, but when you looked at the 3rd or 4th camera, it showed that it was not a touchdown, and I think that's the problem that we'd have to wrestle with. Would you take the time to look at 3 or 4 different views of a play? And I think it would waste too much time, and on many occasions when video replays are looked at, it proves that the official that's on the spot has made the right call.
So the referees will not have to become instant television experts, certainly for some time to come. You want to ask the commissioner? Here's the address. Doug Mitchell will respond here on CTV, and you can win yourself a Spalding J5V football.
All right, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I suppose somewhere down the road, Frank, they probably would get into that technological age and have replays that the officials might go to, but certainly it's a long way from being in any league, really, at this point.
Well, it's a very difficult thing, obviously, as Doug explained to them, the different ramifications of it, and it may be some time. But let's take a look statistically at that first half. As you can see, a very even football game in terms of total yardage, and not a game that has been very impressive to this point in time offensively by either team. And basically because the defenses, I think they've done an excellent scouting job, particularly the Ottawa Rough Riders, obviously shutting down that quick hit screen to Murphy and so forth. I thought the big effort by Tommy Clements on this play in the second quarter when his receivers were covered and he took off, he knew he was going to be hit and hit big down at about the goal line, and Tommy went for it anyway. Even though he is in his 11th year in the professional ranks, he takes a shot at the 1-yard line. Sykes went over for the only touchdown of the game right after that, but I thought that was a key play in the drive. And we saw an example of how Todd Dillon, the much renowned and much ballyhooed quarterback that many people at Ottawa feel might be as good as Jim Kelly, the highest paid player in the football history with the Buffalo Bills, signing this past week, how he can deliver that football when he gets a little time. That was Mike Hudson, a 45-yard drive, and led to a field goal, which got the 6th point for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and find us here at halftime with a Winnipeg lead of 8-6.
Now the third quarter kicked off by Dean Dorsey. He puts it deep down to the 11-yard line, and this Daryl Sampson on the return, number 30, spins away from the first man, Greg Miller, and finds some open room right on the near side of the field. And finally cut down at about the 44-yard line. A return of 31 yards by Sampson, a rookie out of York University. Another look.
Well, Greg Miller, number 10, is really upset with himself because he came down here with great hustle, just outrunning the blockers who were trying to put a hit on him, and got down there in position to make the tackle. Just didn't slow down and keep that balance underneath him enough. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers get good field position at their 44.
1st and 10 here in the third quarter. Winnipeg deep down the middle is open. Petrosky, first down for the Bombers at the Ottawa 39-yard line. And that's a pickup of 26 yards for Plasky, a key man tonight for Winnipeg. They wanted more production from him, and they're getting it tonight. Sanji on the coverage. And quickly, the Bombers move into Ottawa territory. 4 catches, 73 yards for Joe Poplaski, and the handoff to James Sykes. He's wrapped up immediately by Lloyd Lewis, number 76. And there will be a loss on the play of a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 11.
Well, they continue to try to run Sykes, but not all that successfully. He's picked up just over 30 yards so far tonight, running the football in his return after an absence of a year and a half.
Clements into the middle again, and Poplowski is unable to hold on. This time the coverage was there by Sanji, Poplawski bobbled it a little bit. Sanji was able to pull him down. Ball falls incomplete. Third down, Winnipeg.
Pressure by Taylor, the middle linebacker, but it looked to me like the ball was delivered pretty well by Tommy Clements. Joe could have had that one, I think, very easily. It's not to be, so a field goal attempt by the Bombers will come from about the 48-yard line.
Bob Cameron doing the holding for Paul Osbaldiston. 47-yard field goal attempt. It is wide. No, it isn't. It started out wide, and then it came back. So it's a field goal for Osbaldiston, and that increases the Bomber lead to 11-6. We'll be back in just a moment. It's all contained right there in one publication. It's got everything you'd want to know about the Canadian Football League and the players and individual teams as well. It's available from the CFL for $14.95. And there's the address where you can send for your copy. Following the field goal, Osbaldiston's kickoff goes to the 20-yard line. Lewis on the return. Ken Haley brings him down as he crosses the 40-yard line. 23-yard return by Mark Lewis and the Ottawa Rough Riders. Go first and 10, and the ball will be spotted at their own 43.
Dale, Ottawa had a rash of injuries, as you know, in the first half. Well, most of them are back, with the exception of Reggie Butts, the wide receiver, number 29. Reggie will not play anymore tonight. That elbow injury apparently a little more serious than at first. They thought it was maybe a funny bone, but it's going to need an X-ray. It could be quite serious. Reggie will not play anymore tonight.
And Todd Dillon took over from Tom Burgess in the second quarter. Dillon's still in there, and he one-hops it to Mike Catterbone. Working against James Jefferson, number 20 of the Blue Bombers. Dillon's stats tonight. Jefferson, of course, playing on the corner in place of David Shaw, who went home to attend to some family matters this past week in Dallas. He's expected back over the weekend here in Winnipeg. Burgess waiting to see if he might get another opportunity to play tonight. Second down and 10 for Dillon.
The big blitz.
Mark Lewis had the ball in his hands, and thanks to the defensive play of Roy Bennett, it's an incomplete pass. Big hit by Bennett.
Well, that's actually a pretty good read by Dillon, because he sees all these linebackers coming, and he's got to get rid of the football, no question about it. Watch the pressure that comes on him. Ty Jones, 35, jumps over the blocker, as well as Patterson, 76, and it's actually a pretty good throw. I don't think Lewis would have picked the first down up anyway, because Bennett was there with perfect timing.
Ouch. Lewis bounced right back up, though. Third down. Good kick by Ken Clark. He drives Sampson back inside the 10-yard line. So from the 8, he's on the return and brings it out to the 26-yard line. So the Blue Bombers get the ball after a 58-yard punt and a 17-yard return. Winnipeg leads it 11-6 over the Ottawa Rough Riders. We'll be back in just a moment.
Drive officials crazy. Did Mark Lewis have possession? I thought maybe he did. It was awfully close.
I don't think he did.
You don't think he did, Dale?
No.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's a gutsy little performer, because he bounced right back up after that hit, and obviously in excellent condition.
So the Bombers have a 5-point lead. They've got the ball at their own 26-yard line. We're in the third quarter at Winnipeg Stadium. Tom Clements finds Sean Kehoe open in the middle. There's a penalty marker down, and Kehoe is stopped shy of the 40-yard line, but he's got enough yardage for a Bomber first down out at the 39 before he's driven back. Henry Taylor was there defensively for Ottawa. Let's see what the call is here. Pass interference against Ottawa.
Forward pass interference. Ottawa decline. Looking once again at Henry Taylor, who's playing his first game at that middle linebacking spot. Looked like he was just a little bit lost for a moment, but he did find his way to the ball carrier eventually. First down for Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Big pressure from Ron Engelson, and Clements again reverses his field and tried to go to Perry Tuttle. That's not an easy throw at all.
I think that ball went exactly where Tommy was going, and that was off the playing field. No chance for an interception, but also no chance for a 20-yard loss as he was being chased by Engelson deep into Winnipeg territory.
Tommy's had the quick feet tonight. Well, 2 or 3 times he has
He's moved around a lot more than he normally does.
Second down and 10 from the 39. Clements just gets rid of the ball, and wide open is Sean Kehoe. He is inside the Ottawa 40-yard line. Big gain for Winnipeg. He had 2 receivers down there, and both of them were open. Kehoe makes the catch for a gain of 33.
Well, they are finding the hole in that zone, or splitting the seams in that zone against this Ottawa football club. Obviously a good job by the coaching staff of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at halftime making the adjustment. They've completed 3 passes now in the early part of this third quarter like that.
Bombers go right back to work. Clements to Kehoe again. He's to the 30-yard line. Going to be close to a 10-yard gain. Miller in on the tackle. Greg Miller, number 10, is in there at a linebacking position.
Kehoe came into this ball game, only had 13 receptions all year long, and look at that.
Close enough for a measurement here. Ottawa Rough Riders have gone through a lot of changes in their defensive lineup since the game started. Now we see Steve Harrison coming back into the game, and Miller will go out. See number 10 heading to the Ottawa bench. Second and a little bit for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Ottawa 28.5-yard line. Pat Kantner stopped for a moment, but then he got another surge forward and has the first down near the 25.
You know, I thought Tommy might fake that one and go for it with another third down to try and pick up that first down, but it was not to be. Coach Cal Murphy said, let's get it now and keep the drive going.
Another Ottawa defensive player shaken up.
Well, they've had their problems, haven't they, with injuries?
Oh, boy. Coming into the game, they were without Chris Sigler and Phil Jones.
The change of Taylor for Washington at that middle linebacker spot was not because of injury, but they have had several changes both offensively and defensively because of people going down.
Ron Engelson this time. That'll bring Michel Bourgeot back into the ballgame. And a reminder, tomorrow night on the full CTV network, 7:30 start Eastern time. That is 5:30 in Alberta. The Eskimos against the Argonauts.
And if you missed the first encounter between these two teams about 3 weeks ago, it was one of the best finishes I've seen in football anywhere over the last several years.
I don't recall
just went up and down
so
the field.
many people talking about a game the way they did that one after the Friday night encounter in Edmonton.
Argos, of course, won that one 35-34 in the last second.
From the 25-yard line, Clements on first down finds Poplawski wide open at the 10-yard line. A pickup of 15. First down for Winnipeg.
Boy, they said they wanted a big night from Joe. Is he ever having it?
Oh, those guys on the inside have been really getting open for the Bombers. First and goal.
You see Tommy step up into this pocket, actually throws off the wrong foot again, but a perfect strike to Joe.
Somebody jumped. Penalty flag is down. Perry Tuttle makes the catch at the 1, and he is dropped right there by Darrell Hall and Ricky Barden.
You could tell Tuttle really wanted to get in the end zone with that one. He's had 3 touchdown receptions so far in '86. We'll have to wait to see if the Riders were drawn offside.
Initial indication was offside Ottawa. So the Bombers are going to take the penalty. It'll put the ball at the 4-yard line where it'll be first down over again and goal to go.
Offside, Ottawa number 78. First down repeated.
James Curry offside on the play, and the penalty picture is fairly bleak against the Ottawa Rough Riders here this evening. Winnipeg only one penalty in the first 2.5 quarters of this ball game.
Eight minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and the Bombers threatening to add to their lead now. They're first and goal from inside the 5-yard line. Sykes takes the pass from Clements, tough catch, puts it in the end zone.
Boy, you could just see that coming, couldn't you? Sykes went in motion right before the ball was snapped, and nobody came out there with him. The linebackers were trying to add extra coverage to the inside, and it was just dumped off to Sykes and a race to the goal line. Sykes had the steam to get it in there. A 3-minute and 35-second drive results in a 5-yard major score. Clements to Sykes. Watch as Tommy doesn't really throw the ball all that far. Sykes has just gone into motion and puts it in the corner.
Second touchdown of the night for James Sykes, and Osbaldiston converts it. And the Blue Bombers have now opened up an 18-6 lead over the Ottawa Rough Riders. We'll be back in just a moment. With his second touchdown of the night on pass this time from Tom Clements, and the Bombers lead at 18-6 here in the third quarter. Osbaldiston set to kick off from his own 35-yard line. Moving up to take it is Mark Lewis at his own 26. Lewis brings it out across the 45 to about the 47, 48-yard line. Roy Bennett there to stop him, as the young Lewis shows pretty good speed. Once he gets rolling, he's only 5'9", 169, much smaller than his father, but he's still a heck of a football player.
The Lincoln Locomotive was the nickname, of course, for Leo, his dad, and apparently Mark was telling me before the ball game that he talked to Leo last night, and he had tried to get up to see his son play his first game ever in Winnipeg Stadium, but just at the last moment could not make it.
That would have been nice. Lester Brown takes the pitch from Dillon, and he's forced out of bounds at the 53-yard line, a gain of 5 yards on the play. Wiley Turner defensively for Winnipeg. Bombers have some people in their secondary that are smarting a little bit. Turner, Flegel, and Haley were all nursing minor injuries coming into the ball game, and of course Shaw isn't here. Roy Bennett, number 23 on the far corner, seems to be the only healthy defensive back at the moment, regular that is. It's second down and 5 for the Ottawa Rough Riders. The ball at their own 53-yard line. Dillon into the middle to the big guy Mike Hudson, and he is met right at the Bomber 50-yard line by Darrell Patterson. Patterson felt that one. Hudson is 6'5", 220 pounds, and gets a first down for Ottawa.
I guess Todd Dillon likes those bigger receivers. You know, everybody talks about the Ottawa Rough Riders, and they've got 4 receivers who average about 5'9 and a half. So he's looking for the big guy. That's the second big reception here in the ball game that Dillon has found Hudson with.
Dillon on first down has to step up, and he won't get it away. Delbert Fowler from the outside. And those Bomber linebackers do make things happen.
That looked like a low 10. He gave it a back and forth.
Fourth sack of the season for Fowler. And a loss of 2.
You'll see the pressure come from Dillon's right side. Big number 72, Fowler. I think he's got actually a sack earlier in this ball game.
Second down and 12. Here comes Patterson. Dillon does a good job of getting away from Patterson. He threw the ball. Catterbone body had made the catch, but it's ruled incomplete. He trapped it.
Well, that was a one-hopper to him, no question about that, but it was an excellent job, as you say, by Dillon, just getting the football off.
Bombers really teeing up and going after the Ottawa quarterbacks now. Now we have Burgess in there as the Ottawa Rough Riders go into punt formation. Of course, last week they pulled a couple of tricky plays out of punt formation, but this time the direct snap goes to Ken Clark, and he booms one into the end zone. 5 yards deep, and Sampson brings it out. Oh, he's got a lane over there, but he can't get around Robert Reed. If Reed doesn't bring him down, Sampson has all kinds of room, but Robert Reed does the job at the 20-yard line, and that kick traveled 54 yards and a return of 25.
I was a little surprised he brought it out with the score 18-6 at this point. Whether you're ahead by 12 or 11 doesn't make a whole lot of difference. You do subject yourself to a potential fumble and handling the football, and you would have got the ball out at the 25-yard line. So it was a bit of a strange move by Sampson, but he did a good job once he decided to come out.
First down for the Bombers now at their own 20. John Kehoe, the inside handoff from Clements, gets close to the 25. Aaron Hill making the tackle. The gain as they put the ball at the 24 is 4 yards. Second down and 6. Those scores last night in the CFL: Hamilton over Montreal 28-23 and Calgary over BC 30-14. Clements has to eat it this time. The ball came loose and they roll it incomplete. Lloyd Lewis was right on top of Clements, but they rule he was in the throwing motion. Greg Marshall came up with the loose football. It'll be third down.
Well, Lewis put tremendous pressure on Clements. Watch him. He's number 76. He's had 7 sacks coming into tonight's ball game, but he's also had a statistic that's just as important to coaches. He's had 9 what they call pressures, getting very close to the quarterback before he gets rid of the football. He and Curry basically provide most of the rush from that front four.
So it's Bob Cameron into punt. Ottawa with 2 men back. One is Mark Lewis, and he'll take this punt, and it's a beauty. Good kicking here tonight by the 2 punters. Lewis on the return and nowhere to go. Ken Haley was downfield quickly for the Bombers. A 50-yard punt and a return of 4. And, of course, weekends mean plenty of junior football action across Canada. And here's a look at some of the games. And if there's a game coming up in your area, be sure to take it in. Good for junior football action across Canada tomorrow, including the BC Junior League and the Prairie Junior Conference on Sunday. And of course, so many that have played junior football have gone on to have great careers in the CFL. From the 40-yard line, the Ottawa Rough Riders 1st and 10 now. Dillon in trouble again, and he goes down. Tyrone Jones back at the 30-yard line to 29. It's a loss of 11.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Winnipeg coming after the Ottawa quarterbacks all the time. And, you know, when you get people in there that are not really that familiar with the offense, it's an excellent type of strategy. They're bringing their linebackers almost every play now. Ty Jones, of course, who's been just outstanding in his 4 years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, gets there that time. There's no way he's got a chance to release that football. He's lucky to go down and still have possession of it.
So it is 2nd down and 21, and here comes West. Dillon does a nice job of stepping by him.
What a
Lester
throw.
Brown.
Oh.
Incomplete. Tyrone Jones reached around and knocked the ball loose. Oh, so close.
What a gorgeous throw by Dillon. Now watch this. Watch where that ball hits Lester Brown. He's in full flight, and the ball is right there.
Boy,
you can't put it in any better position for a guy to make the reception, but a good job defensively by Jones of stripping it away. That was a good football play, both ways, both offensively and defensively.
And on the first play, Jones is in the backfield for an 11-yard sack. On the second play, he's 40, 50 yards downfield covering Lester Brown. Good punt by Ken Clark. They're going back and forth now, Cameron and Clark, with sensational punting. And this is Sampson on the return. Comes out across the 30-yard line, and Marty Palazetti makes the tackle at the 32. A 61-yard punt
Dale, you were
return of
mentioning, excuse me, Dale, you were mentioning the good kicking we're seeing tonight, and believe me, it's all the kickers because the weather, a little bit breezy and a little bit threatening at the start of the game, is now just splendid. The flags are hanging practically straight down, the wind almost non-existent. It's warm, and there's no threat of rain, so the kickers are doing it without any help from the elements.
3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Bombers out in front, 18-6. Clements is caught by James Curry back at the 30-yard line. There'll be a loss of a couple of yards on the play. Second sack for Curry.
Tommy's had to move around quite a bit, which we've mentioned a couple of occasions. Good effort by the Ottawa defensive secondary, obviously, to bottle up the receivers downfield. It'll be 2nd and 12.
Wide open is Erdman. He's going to turn his first catch of the night into a big game. Jerome Erdman out of Simon Fraser has just picked up 47 yards for the Bombers.
Well, we talked a lot about Leo Lewis here this evening because his son is playing. He wore number 29, and he ran with the football a lot like this. Watch what Erdman does after he makes that reception. He reverses his field twice, finally moves down the right sideline all the way to the 32-yard line. Great play.
Sanji finally forced him out. 1st and 10 Bombers. James Sykes with the football. He gets inside the Ottawa 25-yard line as he bounced between Lloyd Lewis and Rick Sovieta. They'll spot the ball at the 24. It's a gain of 8 yards. 2nd down and 2, and we have another injured Ottawa Rough Rider. It looks like Steve Harrison.
Looks like all of a sudden in this third quarter, the Blue Bomber offense has finally made up their mind that, hey, we better put something together. We haven't really done much in the last couple of football games. Tommy's finding some holes down there and moving it offensively. There's 1:43 remaining now in this third quarter, as there'll be a timeout because of this injury.
Frank, the Bomber coaching staff really must have done a good job in the halftime intermission because it is a more potent attack all the way around.
I don't recall the last time we've seen them use Sean Kehoe so effectively as a pass receiver, but he's been a big factor here in the third quarter. Of course, Joe Poplawski has been their #1 man throughout the evening.
Here's some more Canadian amateur football that's going on this weekend. Tomorrow in the Ontario Conference, you see the 3 games listed. And action Quebec Major Junior Football. Tomorrow a game and another game on Sunday. So there's junior football going on right across Canada this weekend.
Steve Harrison, the 4-year veteran from UBC, being assisted off the field now. And it's beyond counting the number of defensive players for the Riders that have gone down here this evening.
That'll bring Marty Palazetti, number 41, into the ball game. And the Bombers are 2nd down and 2 at the Ottawa 24-yard line. Sykes hurdles through there. He's inside the 20 and has a first down. Sanji and Barton team up to bring him down along with Sovieta. 1st and 10, Winnipeg.
Well, that offensive line, though, is starting to dominate.
Winnipeg tonight have passed for 286 yards, and they're averaging 295 per game, tops in the CFL. Clements goes right back to work, and the CFL reception leader James Murphy has his 7th touchdown of the year.
Boy, just a quick fake and a post pattern, and was he wide open.
Now the Bombers are clicking now on offense, aren't they?
Great ISO shot by Freddie Fleming, and our truck will show you that quick move to the inside. And Meacham is just caught flat-footed as Murphy turns on the burners.
James Murphy, the CFL leader in passes caught and in yards receiving and in touchdown receiving.
That's how you draw it up on the board. Winnipeg Blue Bombers go ahead 24-6, and we still have just under a minute remaining in this third quarter. There's Murphy, who came into this ball game leading the league in catches and in reception yardage.
Al? Well, tomorrow night, the Argonauts will unveil, would you believe, the Argo Glide. It's a song and dance routine, the brainchild of Carl Brazeley. And I look down here, I see the lead vocalist is Willie Pless, and backing up Steve Cox, Dennis Clay, Marcellus Green, and Carl Brazeley. They've made a demo tape. They're going to cut a record. I think you're going to get a little preview now.
If you wanna show your pride, stand up and do the Argo Glide. Let the jungle blues take you for a ride. Take the blues to the Argo Glide. Argo Glide, Argo Glide, Argo Glide. Oh, Argo Glide.
All right, maybe the Argos will be gliding tomorrow night against the Eskimos. The kickoff to Lester Brown following the Bomber touchdown, and he brought it back 23 yards. Here's a look at it. And Brown brings it back to the Ottawa 48-yard line, where the Rough Riders go 1st and 10. They trail now 25-6 with time winding down here in the third quarter. Dillon stepping up, and he had a man open way down deep. He just couldn't get the ball to him. Mike Catterbone had beaten the coverage, and he was wide open to the 30-yard line, but Dillon just couldn't get the ball to him, and he is upset with himself.
Well, I think James Jefferson had let Catterbone behind him because he thought the young quarterback was going to take off and run with the football. He had another half a second or so to deliver that one. That would have been a big game for the Riders, and they need it right now in the dying seconds of this third quarter. They trail 25-6.
Hudson in motion, number 73. Dillon for Catterbone this time, and he makes the catch at the Winnipeg 50-yard line against James Jefferson. First down, Ottawa.
Dale, for Ottawa fans, I might mention some good news. Steve Harrison, their big linebacker out of UBC, he's going back into the game. He took a helmet on the knee. It bruised it, but he says he's all right, and he'll be playing next series.
Okay, Catterbone's catch is his first of the night, although the Ottawa quarterbacks have attempted to go to him before. Catterbone came into the ballgame replacing Mark Barus, but has since moved outside with the injury to Reggie Butt. The draw play to Big Jim Reed. He's to the 45-yard line and hauled down by Stan Mikowas. And that's going to do it for the third quarter. They'll change ends, and after 3 quarters of play, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead the Ottawa Rough Riders 25-6. And we'll return with the fourth quarter right after this. Fourth quarter now, the Ottawa Rough Riders second down and 4 yards to go from the Winnipeg 44-yard line. And Dillon tries to complete this one to Florindo Grilly, and it goes incomplete. And it'll bring up third down, Rough Riders. Dillon looks to the bench to see if the field goal or punting unit is coming on, and is it? As you look at the third quarter statistics, the punter comes on. Winnipeg really opening up an edge in offensive net yardage now, 365 to 174. Tommy Clements over 300 yards passing tonight.
And you saw the statistics at halftime. They were actually very, very close, so the dominance has only been in the last 15 minutes.
Clark to punt, and he'll put this one into the end zone, 5 yards deep. Sampson is there. This time he'll give up the single point. Last time he brought it back 25 yards. So now it is 25-7 in favor of the Bombers here in the fourth quarter. And, of course, Winnipeg has the football at their own 35-yard line. I want to remind you again of the Ottawa Rough Riders' next home game, and that's 1 week tonight when they'll be hosting the Toronto Argonauts, who, of course, just traded for Tim Cowan of the BC Lions, gave up a first-round draft choice next year.
And Pat Marsden, Lee Pedersen, and Dan Knotson will be bringing you that Friday night encounter on CTV.
James Sykes pops out of there on the draw play. A penalty marker comes down. Sykes is close to first down yardage out near the 45. Craig Sanji making the tackle, holding the early indication against the Bombers, so they'll take this one back, and it'll be first down over again. It's only the second penalty of the ball game against Winnipeg.
Holding Winnipeg, number 50, first down repeated.
Mark Moore is the offensive center, found guilty by the officials on that one. Good run by James Sykes, but it'll be called back to the 25-yard line.
First down over again, 20 yards to go. Clements hangs on to it. Whoa, and he ran right into Henry Taylor at about the 26, 27-yard line, so he managed to pick up a couple.
That's a good example of why Tommy likes to pull up and pull the ball. Can you blame him? Watch this.
Don't want to be running into linebackers.
No. Not in the 11th year of your pro career, you don't. Even in your first year, it's not advisable.
Henry Taylor isn't big by any means. He's 6 feet 228, a solid 228. Honorable mention All-American while at Florida State. It's second down for the Bombers. Clements gets out of there again. Throws almost picked off by Henry Taylor. I think he was going to Poplawski, but Taylor was there. Two big defensive plays by Henry Taylor now and forces the Bombers to punt.
Tuttle was down in that area, number 22 as well. Not sure who Tommy was trying to hit.
So Bob Cameron is out there to do the punting for the Bombers, and it's his fourth punt. Him and Ken Clark have been doing a great job, and it's another beauty back to the 25-yard line. Mark Lewis goes down. Pat Cantner got a piece of him. Lewis manages to stay on his feet for a couple of steps, and then goes down at the 31. So the Bombers lead it 25-7. We'll be back in just a moment. Punt traveled 58 yards in the return of 5. Both punters, Cameron and Ken Clark, are averaging 50 yards a punt tonight. Coming into the ball game, Clark, he was averaging 47.7, second best in the league. Cameron was averaging 42.9 coming into the ball game, and they're both at 50 tonight. Ottawa Rough Riders with the football at their own 31-yard line, and Tom Burgess is back at quarterback. Look out. Throws, it is complete out at the 40-yard line, but they rule that Burgess stepped out of bounds back at the 25 before he got the football away, so it'll be a loss of 6 yards. There will be no gain. Catterbone made the catch, but it doesn't matter.
Well, this should give you a pretty good shot at it. Stan Mikwas is the Blue Bomber there that pushed him out of bounds. Obviously, his left foot was out of the playing field, so second and 16 or 16 and a half will be the call for the Ottawa Rough Riders, who desperately need to get something going offensively. They trail by 18 points, and the Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans are starting to get excited about this ball club again.
Whole bunch of Bombers are after him. He throws it upfield, and making the catch for a first down, Mike Catterbone, number 27.
Whoa, was that an unreal throw? Under extreme pressure, going the wrong way for a right-handed quarterback, and he put it right on the money. Watch this.
21-yard gain.
Beautiful throw and catch.
We have seen indications tonight of why the Ottawa coaches and manager Don Hopley are very excited about these two young quarterbacks, Burgess and Dillon.
Oh, I think they're in good shape once these guys get a little experience. You know, having one guy is fine, but having two of them that can play is almost crucial in the Canadian Football League.
Reed picks up about 5. Of course, Burgess started the ball game, gave way to Dillon in the second quarter, and Dillon continued right up until the end of the third, and now Burgess is back in.
You know, I asked Joe Moss yesterday if the fact that having Todd Dillon in the lineup would take away much offense because he, hadn't been there very long, hadn't been to very many practices. Just not all that much, really. Some of the running game they can't run with him. He doesn't know the nomenclature, but the passing game, he can do pretty well.
Lester Brown almost slipped outside, but Ken Haley tripped him up, number 24. And so it'll be third down for the Rough Riders. They were looking at 2nd and 5 from their own 51. Now they're going to be 3rd and about 3 from their 53.
And it looks like they may well gamble.
Yeah. There was room out there if Brown had been able to get past Haley. Such was not the case. Third down. And Catterbone and Grilly check back in.
Sturgis is staying in this football game. This is awfully critical for the Riders right now. If they don't get this one, it could be over.
Third down and a long 3, and he's going for a bunch. Mark Lewis, the intended receiver, and he overthrows him. The ball will go over to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Ottawa 53. The score is Winnipeg 25 and Ottawa 7. We'll be right back.
How do you call it? Who went down tonight is wide receiver Reggie Butts. Reggie, elbow injury. What happened?
Well, when I went at the fumble ball, a guy speared me on my elbow. I mean, yeah, right in the elbow. He hyperextended it, I think. They say it's a bruised bone, but it's sore and it's swollen pretty bad.
Swollen. Well, I hope it doesn't keep you out of the next game, Reggie.
I hope so.
You guys are getting pretty battered here, physically.
Yeah, well, that's part of the game.
Good luck rest of the year.
Well, thank you.
First down, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. James Sykes, the handoff from Clements, and he heads out of bounds with it at the 48-yard line of the Ottawa Rough Riders for a pickup of about 4 yards on the play. Two of Ottawa's starting receivers out of action. Of course, Mark Bruce didn't even dress for this game after an injury last week, and now Reggie Butts has gone down. And Clements has had a pretty darn good second half. They held him in check for the most part in the first 30 minutes. Third quarter, he took over, though. There he goes again. He's made that move 3 or 4 times tonight. This is Sykes, and he'll be close to a first down.
You know, Dill, if you watch Tommy Clements over the years, and certainly over recent years, he seems to have a way of coming back after the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a bad football game, which, of course, they did against the Eskimos last week, particularly offensively, putting only 5 points on the board, but they have never really had a bad offensive display the next week around, so they have been able to make the adjustments.
Watch Poplawski and Murphy almost run into each other here. Somebody, I think, is in the wrong area.
I got to believe you're right there.
First down, Bombers. The ball at the Ottawa 42-yard line. 9.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. The Bombers out in front 25-7. I'll show you again what Tommy's been doing tonight. He's looking right and then spins left.
That's a great move, you know, unless a linebacker happens to be coming from the backside there, and then you get killed.
First down. Clements wide open, is Tuttle on the sidelines, and Clements lays it in there. Aaron Hill makes the hit, but after the reception was made, first down Winnipeg at the Ottawa 13.
And Perry Tuttle was saying to that ball, come on, get here, get here. I know I'm going to get hit. Watch the shot he takes right after the reception. Great job of lofting it between the defenders by Tommy.
24-yard pickup for the Bombers. First down at the Ottawa 19-yard line. Clements trying to go to Kehoe in the middle. Now, he was stumbling. He got caught up with traffic in the middle there, and he wasn't ready to take the pass. He almost fell completely down. It'll be 2nd and 10. Clements coming into the ball game, 66% completion average. Has thrown 2 touchdown passes tonight. One to Sykes and one to Murphy. Sykes has another rushing. Clement steps up, gets away, fires to Poplawski to the 1-yard line. Boy, Poplawski has sure made his presence felt tonight. If they were starting to get on him and worried about him a little bit in Winnipeg, he's come through. 18-yard gain.
Boy, what great moves and what great effort by Joe Poplawski. This does not need comment. Just watch it.
Well, the Bombers are first and goal from the 1-yard line. The give to Cantner, touchdown Winnipeg. Pat Cantner scores his first touchdown of the season.
Great surge by that offensive line, who really has come out in this final 30 minutes and dominated the Ottawa Football Club off the line of scrimmage, and they blow that one into the end zone.
Took 2 minutes and 44 seconds for the Bombers to add another major, and the convert by Osbaldiston. And now it is Winnipeg 32, Ottawa 7, a 53-yard scoring drive. So Winnipeg's out in front, 32-7, 7:46 left. We'll be back in just a moment. Cantner getting the touchdown for the Bombers. 1-yard scoring play. The drive, 53 yards in 6 plays, and the Bombers all set to kick off. That's Cantner lined up, ready to head downfield on the coverage team. The kickoff by Randy Faby. Puts it high, not too deep. Just inside the 20 is Mark Lewis on the return. Lewis gets past Cantner and a couple of other Bombers, and Patterson finally gets a hold of him along with Ken Haley to bring down a young Mark Lewis at the 20, or to make that the 37-yard line. 19-yard return. So the Ottawa Rough Riders have the football back, but here in the second half, they haven't been able to move it at all. Gilbert Renfro is the number 3 quarterback for the Rough Riders. It's been a couple of years for Ottawa since they've won here. The last couple of times they've been in Winnipeg, it has been blowouts. 84 and 85. Burgess at quarterback. Trying to get outside that rush and then throw back. Look out. Roy Bennett.
That's a touchdown.
Touchdown, Winnipeg. Now it's a rout.
Well, you just can't keep throwing that ball under extreme pressure like the 2 quarterbacks of Ottawa have been under all night long. And particularly as you're backing up and off the wrong foot. A 42-yard touchdown return by Roy Bennett as he picks off his 4th interception this year. And the Ottawa Rough Riders, who came into tonight's contest suggesting that they had to make some changes with a 5-game losing streak, are going to go down to their 6th straight with this one, with no question about it now.
Bennett put it in the end zone, the touchdown for the Bombers. Tyrone Jones is injured way over on the far side of the field near the Ottawa 5-yard line. There he is there, and I did not see at all what happened to him. I mean, there was nobody around Bennett. I mean, they really didn't have to throw any blocks for him. Osbaldiston converts the touchdown by Bennett on the interception return.
Well, if we bring that back, we can maybe see what happened to Ty Jones. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers certainly do not want to miss him. Watch number 35. He's at the top of your screen right now, and we'll pick him up again when Bennett makes this interception.
Pass intended for Lewis. Bennett got there.
There's Ty at the left part of your screen right now, signaling touchdown. Oh, somebody went over.
One of the Ottawa players went after him. Threw a block on him.
I guess they weren't very happy that he was signaling touchdown.
Maybe thought he was celebrating a little early.
I certainly hope no ball player gets hurt on a play like that, which was really totally unnecessary.
So it's now 39-7 in favor of the Bombers, and they'll be kicking off again. And Jones is heading back to the bench. We have 7 minutes and 13 seconds left. 42-yard interception return by Roy Bennett for the major score. And I was talking to you about the Bombers blowing out Ottawa the last couple of times. In 85, the Bombers won 58-15, and in 84, they won 65-25 here in Winnipeg. This is Mark Lewis on the return. And Pat Kantner got a piece of him, and James West finished him off, shy of the 35-yard line. Oh, Burgess leads the Ottawa offense back out there once more.
Wild Wild West, number 58. One of the guys that's really key to those coverage teams. Slips by the intended block. Tries to get a piece of the action. And does so.
Ty Jones is all right. He's out there at his linebacking spot. Burgess trying to go to Catterbone, and it was tipped by James West, number 58. Joe Moss turning into a long night after his club had played so well defensively in that first half.
Well, Winnipeg just keep coming after them with all their linebackers. As you saw, they did it again.
Burgess just got the football away.
And got buried.
Yeah, didn't stop him from getting hit, did it?
Really, the highlight offensively for the Ottawa Rough Riders in the second half is the guy coming on the field right now, Kenny Clark.
Averaging 50 yards a punt. Orindo Grilly, the intended receiver. Third down.
This is a young football club, though, Dale. I really sincerely believe it's going to get an awful lot better once these two young guys get a little bit of experience, get to know their receivers, get to know the offense better.
Exactly.
They do have the talent.
And move the football and give their defense a rest. Kevin Nealis on the return. Out to the 53-yard line. And we have some pushing and shoving going on after the play. 39-yard punt. And a 16-yard return. We have 6 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Bombers have the football back. One more game this weekend in the CFL, this being week number 9. It's Edmonton at Toronto tomorrow night, 7:30 start Eastern time on the CTV network. Saskatchewan Roughriders having the bye this weekend. And then there should be some great action. Labor Day weekend in the CFL, and we'll start it all off 1 week from tonight, again on the CTV network, Toronto at Ottawa. Clements with the play action fake, then hit Sean Keogh, and Keogh was hit by Henry Taylor, number 42.
Dale, as you know, UI and Al will be in Calgary to do the Calgary-Edmonton rematch, and what a fabulous first game of the season we had. As you'll recall, the revitalized Stampeders going down to the Eskimos on the last play of the game. They're looking for revenge.
Why, they think they owe the Eskimos one. That's going to be a dandy. The Battle of Alberta on Labor Day is always a great football game.
After their performance last night against the Lions, I think they're capable of backing up that statement, too.
They are playing well. Murphy makes the catch, and he's wrapped up immediately by Meacham, and a penalty marker down in the offensive backfield, holding against the Bombers. That'll bring it back. It was second down and 10, Winnipeg, from their own 52. It'll be second down and 20 from the 42.
Boy, that Murphy's just playing with an awful lot of confidence. Smooth strides downfield and cuts it off sharply to the inside.
Holding. Winnipeg number 51. Second down repeated.
David Black, number 51, is now in there at left guard in place of the veteran Nick Vistaya.
Well, Nick deserves a little rest once in a while, 12-year veteran. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised that Tom Clements is still in the ball game.
Little play action fake by Clements to Sykes, and Poplawski wide open down the sideline. Boy, has he had a night. And Clements has been hitting him with regularity. Takes it inside the circle. Up another 36 yards.
What's his total now, Dale? He's just had an unbelievable offensive evening.
142. 7 catches.
Yeah. Joe came into this ball game with only 25 receptions on the year and 344 yards. Almost increased that yardage by 50% tonight.
Draw play. Sykes inside the 30 to about the 28, a gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. 4 minutes remaining in the ball game, and the Bombers threatening again. They do score a lot of points here in Winnipeg, though. Tuttle wide open at the 15, spins around, Meacham, touchdown, Winnipeg. Harry Tuttle picks up his 4th touchdown of the season.
Well, Dale, as you were putting out those statistics about how much the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have scored against the Ottawa Rough Riders in the last 4 ball games, they've averaged over 50 points. I said to myself, well, no way will they get to that high tonight, but I don't know. It's 45-7 now with this play. Meacham has had a tough night with the receivers coming to his side, and Tuttle just made a quick move and moved into the end zone very easily. 46 now to 7 with 3:33 remaining.
Osbaldiston converts it. In the 4 straight wins, as you look at the scoring drive of 58 yards in 4 plays, Tuttle with the touchdown. The Bombers on the verge of their 5th straight win over Ottawa, but coming into this ball game, after 4 straight wins, they'd outscored Ottawa 211 to 71. So now it's 257 to 78.
Well, they've averaged over 50 points in the last 5 ball games against Ottawa. Oh, that's an amazing statistic.
And what was it at halftime? 8-6?
It was 8-6, and it was only late in the 2nd quarter that Clements, of course, made that fine run down to the 1-yard line, and then Sykes went over for the major score from 1 yard out. But up until that point, it was a 3-1 football game.
And the kickoff by Faby to the 18-yard line, and Lester Brown on the return. Lester always gives a good, honest effort and brings it out to the 38-yard line. John Huffnagel is now loosening up for the Bombers.
You know, it's very true, Dale. And I think you and I were sitting having a coffee yesterday and talking about Lester Brown. He really doesn't seem to get any credit. I don't know why. The guy gives 100% every time he goes out on a football field. He's in his 7th year. You know, a long, experienced running back, is an excellent pass receiver, and people seem to almost ignore him.
Robert Reed with the football on 1st down. Arbu Bacher makes the tackle. You know, and he only seems to last a couple of years with each team. You know, he's with Saskatchewan a couple, then he went to Toronto for a couple, then he went to Montreal.
And yet we know he has a great attitude toward the game.
Yeah. Here's Huffer. And the score is Winnipeg 46, Ottawa 7. We'll be right back. Second half, Tom Clements probably not due back into the ball game if the Bombers get the ball back here. Clements tonight, 27 out of 36, 417 yards, 3 touchdowns. And it's young Tom Burgess facing 2nd down and 6 for the Ottawa Rough Riders at their own 42. Less than 3 minutes to go now in the 4th quarter. Burgess to Hudson. Made a nice move to get by Delbert Fowler, and Hudson gets across the 45 to the 47, about a yard shy of the 1st down. Ken Haley made the stop, but Delbert Fowler had him lined up and missed him. Hudson's got 3 for 58 yards. His first catch of the night was a 45-yarder. Get a measurement. About a yard short.
Dale, this is the first Friday night game that we've done, and I guess a couple of months at least, that the outcome wasn't in question until the final moment.
You're right. Clements coming into the ball game, I said, was completing 66% of his passes. Tonight, 75%.
Move it up.
Well, it was in doubt at halftime, but the second half has been totally dominated by the Blue Bombers here tonight. 3rd down and 1. Burgess keeps. First down near the 50-yard line.
Well, I'd like to see Ottawa put one in the end zone just for the confidence of this young quarterback.
Well, maybe they'll do like they did in Edmonton and score a couple late in the ball game. 2 hours left, of course. French telecast of tonight's ball game. First down for the Ottawa Rough Riders from their own 50. Burgess down the middle, and Mark Lewis stepped right in between 2 defenders and has a first down, and then Delbert Fowler grabs a hold of his jersey and hauls him down.
That was a bit of a mismatch once Fowler got a hold of him, but Mark Lewis, in his first football game ever in Winnipeg Stadium, has done himself proud, and his father. He's had a big evening.
18-yard pickup.
It's his 5th reception tonight. He's gone over the 75-yard mark with yardage. The biggest offensive performance for the Riders.
Burgess sets up the middle screen to Jim Reed looking for a block. He's got some room to go. Caught from behind by linebacker Darrell Patterson. Penalty marker way back in the offensive backfield, and a roughing the passer call against Darrell Sampson on Tom Burgess. So Reed got enough for the first down anyway, and they're going to add some more to that.
Well, that'll put Riders in excellent scoring position now. And Coach Cal Murphy is not happy about that kind of thing. Sampson comes right out of the football game.
And Haley goes back in. Cal's having a little chat with Sampson, isn't he?
We'll have a little chat tomorrow, I'll guarantee you. Sampson will remember that one.
First down from the Winnipeg 15-yard line. Burgess into the end zone. Lewis is open, and getting back there to break it up was Roy Bennett.
Well, I'll tell you, he got there just in time, too, by an excellent throw from Burgess. Had he not been there to knock this ball away, it was 6. Lewis got behind him for this moment. 1:30 remains now.
Second down from the 15-yard line. Jim Reed again, and the middle is open. Jim Reed will score for the Ottawa Rough Riders. That is their first touchdown of the evening. Good call by the Ottawa offense. And Jim Reed puts it into the end zone, and that is his first touchdown of the season.
Well, I got my wish. Maybe the young quarterback will gain a little confidence from this drive.
2 minutes and
Threw
3
the ball
seconds.
well.
The length of the drive, time-wise.
Well, it's a good time for the Riders to maybe practice their 2-point conversion plays that all ball clubs have in there. It won't make any difference, of course, in this football game, but maybe you try to refine it a little bit. No, they're going for the single point.
Dorsey, the kick. Clark does the holding. It is good, and it is now 46-14. 1:25 left.
Dale, am I right that there hasn't been an extra point missed all season?
There hasn't been an extra point missed for a long time, I don't think.
I can't remember the last miss, to tell you the truth. It's an amazing statistic, considering some other leagues where you see them miss them in exhibition games steadily.
Well, I know Lou Pasaglia in the BC Lions has missed 1 in his career. J.T. Hay from Calgary has missed none.
Yeah,
I think they are the longest in seniority in the league in terms of extra point and field goal kickers. And by the way, the one that Pasaglia missed, it was a mishandled snap by the holder. It wasn't Louis' fault. A very disheartening football game for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and a tough start now after opening the season with 2 wins. They're going to pick up their 6th consecutive loss.
Now Ottawa has called a timeout.
Trying to get their group together.
Strategy, right? You got
well, they're going to try a short kickoff, and they just want to make sure that they know what they're trying to do. Dorsey says, where do you want it?
I don't mind that. I mean, regardless of what the score is, you have the timeout. You might as well use it. You never know, and you might discuss something now that's going to be helpful somewhere down the road.
Absolutely. There's 1:25 remaining. If they happen to get the ball back, maybe they can play a little more offense, put another one in the end zone. After having an 8-6 football game at halftime, there are 60 points on the board now. Unfortunately for Rider fans, only 14.
And the victory tonight will move the Bombers into a 3-way tie for 2nd place in the West, along with Calgary and Edmonton, barring the outcome of tomorrow night's game, Edmonton at Toronto. So Dorsey puts it into the empty spot, but Flagel gets back there to pick it up for the Bombers. Palazetti wraps him up at the 53-yard line. So the Bombers offense back out on the field, and it's John Hufnagel at quarterback.
John.
23,918 the attendance here tonight. 23,918.
Hufnagel in his 14th year in the Canadian Football League.
Been a great relief man in his career, hasn't he?
Isn't that something? Their first 2 quarterbacks have 25 years of experience.
Hufnagel goes to Tuttle. He's got him. Drilled from behind by Aaron Hill at the 37-yard line, but it's a pickup of 25 yards for Winnipeg.
Well, maybe they are going to try to get over that 50 mark still in points. They are not sitting on the football. 1:14 remains now.
I wonder if these Winnipeg fans are satisfied now. I mean, they were booing Clemens at the end of the first half because he was just grounding the football with 20 seconds left. Hufnagel had his man wide open at the 15-yard line, and he overthrew him. Jerome Erdman. .109 left. Taking a long time, isn't it, Joe? 2nd down play. Hufnagel overthrows Perry Tuttle this time.
Well, that was a case of a difference in read by the receiver and the quarterback. John got in long enough to throw 2 or 3.
So the field goal unit is out there. Paul Osbaldiston will be trying a 44-yarder out of the hold by Bob Cameron. You see that his longest this year is 47. Actually, it's 51. He misses this one. It goes wide to the right. And it is brought back out to the 14-yard line by Ricky Barden. Osbaldiston a little disappointed in that performance. So the score remains 46-14 in favor of the Bombers with 54 seconds left, and Ottawa with the football.
Greg Marshall, the veteran defensive end for the Ottawa Rough Riders, number 66, very slow getting up on that play, and the Riders are certainly going to have to regroup with all the injuries they've had here this evening.
Burgess airs it out for Lewis. Went off a couple of pairs of hands there, and Mike Catterbone was in deep. Was incomplete.
Well, all that proved is he can throw the ball 60 yards. The coverage was right there by the Bombers. Don't forget to stay tuned to the Game Stars after tonight. This is one of the first time in recent memory I can tell you that this broadcast crew has agreed 100% unanimous on both the offense and defensive stars.
Now that is amazing. Airing it out again, this time intended for Catterbone. Again, the coverage was there, and the receiver did not have a chance at that one. Third down for Ottawa.
Well, I can remember playing in ball games like this, about 300 years ago, I think it was, both on the winning and losing side. And believe me, it really drags on a lot longer if you're down that fast. Although the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I'm sure, would like to get off this field as well because they don't want to get anybody hurt.
Kenny Clark one more time to punt. Another long kick. Kevin Nealis at his own 45-yard line, following the blocking of Sampson, turns it upfield and fumbles the ball, but Sampson is right there to scoop it up when things are going your way. They really do go your way. A penalty marker down on the far side of the field, just at the start of the return. A 54-yard punt and a return of 30 combined between Nealis and then Sampson.
Sampson does a good alert job here because he tries to throw a block right in front of Nealis and then winds up recovering the football as well. But the Bombers will be brought all the way back.
Number 75 on the run back. First down.
I think it was number 75 of the Bombers called on that one. So with 25 seconds remaining, we may well see the Bombers just kill this clock now. Mercifully.
No. Hufnagel going deep down the middle for Murphy, and 3 straight incompletions for Hufnagel now. I don't think Ottawa likes this one bit, to tell you the truth.
Well, I guess the feeling is that they want to have John Hufnagel try a little bit of offense because he hasn't had much playing time this year. But the Riders don't feel it should be at their expense.
No, sir. Okay. No. 20 seconds left. This time the give is to Cantner to stay on the ground to the 45-yard line. And that'll keep the clock winding down once the referee blows his whistle, and it starts the countdown. This will be the final play of this ball game. And after being very, very close at halftime, it was 8-6 in favor of Winnipeg. It was all Blue Bombers in the second half. Tom Clements finished with over 400 yards passing. Big night for Poplawski. For Joe Moss, a long evening as you look at the stats. 520 yards net offense for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they both had less than 200 at halftime.
Well, down here at field level, I'm with a very pleased Coach Cal Murphy. Cal, I don't know what the heck you did at halftime in the intermission because you turned an 8-6 ball game into a rout. The offense just come to life for you.
Well, we had some things that were pretty close in the first half of what we wanted to do, you know, and we just didn't quite, you know, we completed one to Perry Tuttle, and he tried to make a move, and somebody took the ball right out of his hand, little things like that. But in the second half, we also took advantage of some of the coverages they were giving us, and Tom played a super game.
Did he ever? And he seemed to buy himself a little more time and found those receivers. It was an aerial exhibition in the second half.
Yeah, it sure was. He looked like a young 33 to me.
Joe Pops had a great game, too. He caught 7 or 142.
Yeah, he really did. That one down the goal line there when he was twisting and turning was a super effort.
Cal, I know you want to get in and talk to your guys and start getting ready for Saskatchewan. That's coming up pretty soon.
I hate going into that place.
Congratulations, Cal.
Okay, thank you.
We're back with players of the game. This is Friday Night Football on CTV.
And now, the Carling O'Keefe Sports offensive and defensive game stars, as selected by our broadcast crew. From the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, inside receiver Joe Poplawski is the offensive star, and also from the Bombers, linebacker Delbert Fowler is the defensive star. Each of tonight's stars receive a Royal Canadian Mint 1-ounce solid gold coin, presented by Nikon. For once-in-a-lifetime shots, the Nikon Touch, the simplest Nikon 35mm ever. Get the Nikon One Touch. And by Tilly, bringing together quality and creativity in all their products, from their line of personal leather goods through to their travel wear. This is CTV's Friday Night Football.
Poplawski, 7 catches, 142 yards. Long time, Joe Pop, since you had that good a day.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I've had a bit of a slow start, but, you know, we're 5-3 now, and we're rolling, so hopefully we can keep this winning streak going.
Just a super second half. Tommy really got it going for you, too.
Yeah, he opened up some things early in the first half for us. We stumbled a bit in the second quarter, and then in that second half, like you say, we started to move the ball quite well.
Good job from the defense, too, led by this guy, Delbert Fowler, 2 sacks. And Delbert, I want to congratulate you. You guys kept heat on their quarterbacks all night long.
Yeah, our guys played well. I got a lot of respect for them. Those guys are pretty good also, but our guys really wanted it tonight, and I'm glad we got after him. I think getting heat on the quarterback played a major role.
Pretty physical game. A lot of their guys got hurt tonight.
Well, yeah, a lot of guys got banged up, and I'm pretty sure a lot of guys will be sore tomorrow. But, I mean, you know, football is a physical game, so nobody's surprised about it.
Tough game next week. Now, Saskatchewan Roughriders in Regina. Have to get ready for that one.
Saskatchewan back-to-back, I believe. Saskatchewan is always a very tough team and very tough in Regina. So we're going to get after them, do the best we can.
Good luck, Delbert. Great game. Congratulations. Congratulations, Joe. Don't forget, tomorrow, another big game. The Eskimos are playing in Toronto against the Argonauts. It should be a heck of a football game, and we'll have it on CTV. I hope you'll join us. This program is copyright and is strictly intended for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the CTV television network is strictly prohibited.
This is the CTV Television Network.